Anh Vũ ơi, hình background là có sẵn trong khung chat rồi đó anh Vũ ơi.
Look, can you send the background to virtual background to everyone in the chat box, please?
Dạ em share rồi đúng rồi đó cô.
Okay, thank you, Phát.
Tụi em mua vô cô trễ đó cho nên là chưa có nhận được cái file mới nãy.
Oh,
Cái file share mới nãy.
okay.
Phát ơi, Phát gửi lại đi Phát ơi. Okay, 1 minute left until we get started.
All right, the live stream link is ready now, Lộc. You can send your, yeah? Oh, no, let me do it. You will be the MC. All right.
There's some sort of echoing. Just me. There's a bit of echoing. How are you, Grover? It's late time for us.
It's very late. I'm very tired.
Yeah, we
I think it's time to get
promised.
started now.
Okay.
I think it's time to get started now. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lộc. We highly appreciate your time to be here with us in this evening to celebrate Grand Final Vietnam National Teaching Research Competition. It's our greatest honor to welcome Professor Robert Pfaff from Bond University, Australia. He is the founder of Beijing Research Competition. He has also developed the teaching template, which has been used by all participants in both Vietnam National Teaching Research Competition and Global Teaching Research Competition. And next, it's our honor to introduce the two country coordinators, Dr. Đức Phang from RMIT, who is very familiar to all of you. And the next person is Dr. Binh Bui from Macquarie University. And Dr. Binh Bui is also the examiner of the Vietnam Beijing Research Competition. Besides Dr. Binh Bui, please welcome Dr. Vũ Bạch from University of Hawaii from the US. And let's welcome all participants of the Vietnam Beijing Research Competition. Now I think it's time for Professor Pfaff to give his general feedback on the work presented by all Vietnamese participants in their written pitch, and next he will provide some general information about the Global Beijing Research Competition and some general advice that we can better prepare for the next level. It is Global Beijing Research Competition. So let's get started with Professor Robert Pfaff. Are you ready for your presentation now?
Do you mind to share the agenda just for everyone to understand?
Oh, okay. So sorry, I was missing that.
All right. Do you need
Pat, can you please share the agenda, please? Okay, on the screen, everybody can obviously see the agenda that we have prepared for today's grand final. First, we will start with Professor Robert Pfaff, and he will present and introduce the Global Beijing Research. Besides that, he also provides some general feedback on the written pitch presented by performed by Vietnamese candidates. Excuse me, no, please don't move. That's it. Yeah, stop here, don't move, please. And then from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., 8 research topics will be invited to present on Zoom, and later we will tell you. Now it's still a secret. And from 9 to 10 p.m., some participants will be invited to talk about the experience of using the template developed by Professor Robert Pfaff. And at the same time, when participants are sharing some of their personal experience about the template, two examiners will discuss about the final scores. And when two examiners come back with us, they will tell you about their about what they think in what you have done with your oral pitches and also your oral presentation. And now it's exactly 7:05. It's time for Professor Robert Pfaff to start his presentation. Please welcome Professor Robert Pfaff.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic to be with you all, and first of all, I'd like to thank all the organisers, particularly Duc. Duc is a very hard-working person, and we've developed a great collaboration over, well, a few years now. I guess during COVID was a time when we relied very much online, and this is an online experience, but I did have the pleasure of meeting Duc somewhere amongst all of the COVID, but that's now, of course, past us, I hope. But I'm very thankful to Duc and also to Bin Bui. She has, I think, been a great supporter as well, along with Duc, and the Vietnamese arm of the competition, I think, has been extremely strong. I'm very pleased to say this year again, like last year, we have a lot of engagement from Vietnam, and this, I think, is largely due to the untiring efforts of the two coordinators that I've just mentioned. So I'd like to record a sincere thanks to them for this hard work, this great work that you've done. And I know, you know, you're busy people. You know, you not only have your normal work, university work to keep you busy, but I think it goes beyond that in terms of family, etc. So the dedication of being here on a Saturday evening, a late Saturday evening in Australia, I think says everything. So what I'm going to do first of all is share my screen.
Stop share screen. Sorry, Robert.
Yes.
Just 1 second. Pat, can you stop share screen, please? Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right, and I will now see whether I have authority to show. Yes, that one. Okay, now what I will do, I don't know, but that's got the right screen somehow. Is that? I think that's showing the correct screen, so it should be the opening PowerPoint slide. Can you see that, Duc?
Very clear, Robert. Thank you.
Very clear. Excellent. So what I plan to do, it's very challenging to give any meaningful feedback about the pictures, and I know you were hoping for at least some general feedback, and I'll attempt to say some comments about that during my presentation. I think that's probably the best way of doing it, but that they will be general comments, and you know, I think it's difficult. You know, it's difficult to do that without taking a lot of time, and we don't have a lot of time this evening. And really, we have two parts to this evening. The first is a general one that talks about the pitching research framework, and then explains that in the context of the competition, the Inspires Global Pitching Research Competition, of which your Vietnam competition is an important arm. So, so I'll be talking about that both in terms of what you've achieved so far in Vietnam, but then also for those that are watching who haven't yet participated, or indeed for those that have participated in the Vietnam version, there is still time to enter the competition from a broader perspective. And I'll explain this a little bit later on, but through a rest of the world route. So pretty much, as I understand it, the Vietnam competition is now at its conclusion, and the exciting part this evening is to hear from the finalists of your Vietnam competition, and then to determine a winner. But as I'll explain a little bit later on, there's still about 3 weeks. In fact, I think it's exactly 3 weeks before we close the global competition. And so there's still a chance for you to enter the competition through that route. And I guess the reason I'm donating my time, as it were, this evening is I want to encourage as many of you to consider coming in through that route. So I'm going to start with that in mind, but I'll come back to this at the end just to remind you. But there's 3 steps if you wanted to come into the competition. Let's say you haven't entered the Vietnam competition yet, but you're interested in coming into the competition. There's 3 steps. The first step is to join the Inspires network. There's a link at the top of this slide, and I'll share these slides down the line with Duc very soon. I'm sorry I haven't sent those through yet, but you can click the link that's just under step 1, and that would take you to a process of about 5 minutes to register as an Inspires member. The second is to complete the micro-credential course. And the Pitching Research Matters micro-credential course is available and is a great resource. And I'll talk a little bit about that in tonight's presentation, but we won't need to say too much about it, because I think we have all the experts actually from, located in Vietnam, because most of, well, I should say, the largest completions of the micro-credential course have actually come from Vietnam. So there are many experts in your part of the world that will help those that want to complete the micro-credential course on how to sign up, and then what to expect as you go through the course. But I will make some comments about that later in tonight's presentation. And then the third step is to actually create and submit your research pitch. And as I've said, there's a 30th of September deadline for that. And the link at the bottom of this slide is where you would need to go to, well, first register on that site, and then to create your pitch and to ultimately submit it. And that has to be done by the deadline of the 30th September. So in speed dial, those are the 3 steps. Now, I'll remind you about those right at the end. But now what I want to do is just, I guess, fill in some details in the middle of all this. And so I'm going to do it along the following lines. I'm going to briefly give a primer of the pitching research framework. I know many of you will be aware of this. Many of you will have used the framework, but a number of you won't have used it or won't be very aware. So we won't spend too long on this, but when I do give this primer, that's when I'll have an opportunity to say a few brief comments about the submitted entries and indeed the finalists for your competition. I'll make some comments then. I'll then talk briefly about the micro-credential course. There's a whole bunch of slides here that will be available to you, and we won't go through these slides in detail, but they will be here just in case you need them. But I'll say a few things about the course, and then I'll give some more detail about the IGPRC 2023, so the Inspires Global Pitching Research Competition, just so you've got some more information about that. For example, I'll give some guidance on the criteria that we will use when we come to make decisions. Well, ultimately, make a decision about who becomes the grand finalists. So we've got a very simple framework in mind. So it may vary a little bit from the approach you're using in the Vietnam competition, but for the overall competition, it's quite simple, and I'll explain that, and then we might have some time for question and answer. So let's first then go to goal one of the talk, and this is a primer, and I think I'll skip over the responsible science stuff. We don't really need that tonight, I'm sorry. If we had more time, we could and we should talk about responsible science. But I want to talk about the pitching research framework, and this is a screenshot of the SSRN site for getting this paper, the basic paper. So I think an absolute must for everyone is to access the SSRN paper, and it's very easy to find, and it's really important that you have a look at that to become familiar with the full framework and get some advice from that written word. Now, as I said, most of you, or many of you, I guess, will know the framework, but let me just refresh your memory and then use this, I guess, in a way to make some comments about the finalists for the Vietnam pitching research competition. So there are 11 items that are needed to make a pitch, and the idea here is, or the main approach, it's not the only way you can use this, but the sort of the pure version of this is to create a prospective pitch. In other words, to formulate your ideas for a piece of research that has not yet been executed. And so what you're trying to do is to convey information to an expert in the field. And the 11 items are what I have sort of devised from, I guess, a lot of experience and a long academic career as those essential pieces that, well, individually and then when you put them together, will be really critical for communicating to your supervisor, to an expert in the field, to a research mentor, to communicate to them. And then what you're trying to do, of course, is to get advice, to get guidance. And so this, to me, is the simplest framework that one can devise to really have a good chance at that. Now, one of the essential ingredients for this is to be quite brief. And so what I advise on this, and all the finalists and the entries into your competition were advised to aim for 1,000 words. Okay, 1,000 words is quite brief in many ways, but should give enough latitude and enough scope to really do a decent job, and then allow an expert to reasonably quickly consume the information and know what you're talking about, what you're trying to achieve. Now, a comment that I would make about that across the entries is that there was a little bit of variation in terms of the total number of words. I would say most of the entries that I saw were pretty good in terms of staying within what I would see as an ideal range, 800 to 1200 words. There was possibly some that were a little too wordy. I didn't. I think it's possible to be too brief, and it's also possible to not really work hard enough to stay close to that 1,000-word limit. And certainly, I think everyone got to at least 800 words or more, which was good. But there might have been one or two that were possibly a little too wordy. And I think this can start to detract from the overall quality, because you really need to lay out and think about what are the most important messages. And so if you haven't put enough effort into that, you can easily write too much, or at least it can feel like you're writing too much. So if we go back to the framework, we have a set of 4 items to begin with, the 4 big picture anchors. This is about framing or putting a context to your research. And within these 4 items, we have the working title, the basic research question, the key papers, and the motivation and puzzle. Now, with a working title, we need to hit a sweet spot, if you like. So sometimes we are tempted by making our working titles either a little too cryptic, a little too clever, and maybe too short. Now, I think with all of the ones I saw, no one fell for that trap of being clever or too short. I think they were generally of a good length, and to me, anywhere around 12 to 15 words in a working title is a good length, and I think many of the ones I saw were about that. If your working title becomes too long, then I think it can be confusing. And one way to recognize that confusion is in a long title where there are too many elements. And a good rule of thumb for me is to aim for a working title that has about 3 elements. And I think many of the entries I saw probably were sort of fitting into that ideal situation. And to make the language clear, it could be not too technical. I think the technical counterpart to your working title can come through your basic research question, which is the second piece. And again, being succinct on this and really identifying that main intellectual question that is at the heart of the research is important. And I think most of the ones I saw did a pretty good job of this. Sometimes we do see the temptation is to want to list off a number of research questions, and it's not to say that's a bad thing, but it can detract. And so a good piece of advice is, well, see whether you can just set out a general research question and leave it at that. If you can't resist the temptation, then maybe you could identify a subsidiary question as well. With the key papers, the strong advice I give all the time about the key papers is to list 3 key papers. And I think in most cases, that message has got through. I'm not, I seem to recall maybe there was an instance where there was only 2 key papers. I might be wrong on that. The other bits of advice I give around key papers, well, probably the most important one is, well, two important ones, that they should be as recent as possible. And the second is that they come from the leading journals in the field. If not the top tier journals in the field, then very highly regarded journals in the field. Now, with the variation of entries, it's not always easy to tell if you're not an expert what are the top journals, but it is easy to tell the year, well, the recency question. And there were some entries that did very well on this. So to me, it's always a standout. If so, we obviously we're in the year 2023 now. If an entry, if a pitch has key papers that are 2022, 2023, to me, other things equal, that is that's appealing. Now, of course, just because you nominate really recent papers doesn't mean that's all that matters, but other things equal, that's pretty important. So there were certainly cases where there were some slightly older papers. I think generally the message got out not to rely on very old papers, and certainly the message got out not to, in a sense, waste your time listing a seminal paper, which might be 10 or 20 years old. For this purpose, we can take it as given that we understand what the seminal papers are. The goal here is to really demonstrate that you are near the forefront or the frontier of research in the field. Now, the final item that rounds out these big picture anchors is the motivation. And generally, I think everyone does a pretty good job of the motivation, where we sometimes, in my mind, see a little weakness in strategy. What you can tend to see, which I don't think is ideal, is talking more about what your paper's goal is going to be, or something like that. And of course, your motivation will be linked to the goal and the plan of your study, but where I see the better entries, and there certainly was some that followed the approach or the advice, well, three-dimensional advice. So there were some that really did this well. Of the first dimension is making a statement, a general statement about what we currently know in this broad field. So that's the first one. The second one under motivation is, what don't we know? So what do we know is the first piece. What don't we know that is relevant to this broad area, relevant broadly to the let's say the basic research question. And then the third piece of the motivation is to move from what we know, what we don't know, to what we need to know. And what we need to know, it makes sense. It should be linked to your study, but it shouldn't be exactly what you're doing. It shouldn't be precisely what you're doing. What you're doing should really be seen as a part of what we need to know, not everything that we need to know. And I think if you get into that sort of habit, if you like, then that will lead you down a pathway of creating a better motivation for your research than you otherwise would. And there were certainly some pretty good efforts on that score. So once we've set that big picture scene, those big picture anchors, we then drill into the individual aspects of your research. So now we're coming to the heart of your research. And the first port of call on that are these three essential building blocks. And this is really setting out how you plan to go about doing your study. So what is the idea? What is the intellectual heart of your study? Now, if you're doing quantitative, it's quite common in quantitative research to very quickly linking your idea to a prediction or even a hypothesis. And the prediction or hypothesis that will be most persuasive will be one that links to one or more theories that are well known in the field. And certainly with some of the submissions and the finalists, where they were quantitative, they did a pretty good job of just briefly alluding to the theory and highlighting hypotheses or predictions related to the idea. If you're not doing quantitative, then this becomes a little bit different because with qualitative research, as far as I know, you never have a hypothesis. It's just not relevant. You don't have a prediction. What you're doing is just trying to understand more about a particular context or situation. It could be within an organization, whatever it might be. There should still be an intellectual spark and a sort of theme at which you will, let's say, conduct interviews. Probably interviews, focus groups would be one of the more common ways of conducting qualitative research. And for a set of interviews, for focus groups, whatever it might be, it's very, very helpful to try and articulate what that central intellectual idea is that makes it all hang together, if you like. So that's the first of the building blocks. We then have the two other key pieces that brought together really identify the how we're going to execute the study. So the second one is the data, and the third of these building blocks are the tools. And so with the data, if it's quantitative data, this will quite often in business school settings be data that comes from a commercial source or at least a secondary source of data. So some publicly available information that's been well used before and that you're planning to use again. And so there were some good examples of that in the finalists. With qualitative data, it's going to be a little different because now it's more about, well, if you're doing interviews, you want to talk about the context of the interviews, how many interviewees you're hoping to engage, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a different angle to that. But irrespective of whether you're doing quantitative or qualitative, the sort of probably the best advice I can give, and this actually applies to tools as well, is to try and align yourself with the gold standard in the field. Okay, whatever your field is, at least have a serious attempt at identifying what that gold standard is, and then as much as you possibly can in your research, you should try and emulate that gold standard. Now, this applies to both data and tools. So with the data, what's the gold standard that you would see in the world's best journals or high quality journals, and strive to reach that gold standard. Now, it's not always possible to get the gold standard. In fact, it's probably relatively common to fall short of the gold standard. But then it's a question of, well, how far short in terms of data, how far short in terms of the tools that are used are you from the gold standard? And then to make a case for why this is not a major obstacle to your research. I mean, there is a context in which if you are too far distant from the gold standard of the data or the gold standard of the tools, then it could jeopardize the viability of research. It could be a deal breaker. So with the tools, this really relates to the method the method, if it's quantitative, you could have a regression type of approach. If it's not quantitative, then there'll be other tools with qualitative. It could be some type of software that allows you to pick out the themes from the interviewees and so on and so forth. But whatever those tools are, they should be as close to the gold standard as you can determine for that area of research and for your discipline. So we certainly saw, I believe, some pretty high quality efforts in terms of, well, identifying all three essential building blocks. So then what we see, and this is just working down in a linear fashion, and we should remind ourselves that research is not linear, and just because I'm going from top to bottom, from A, right, and now I'm down to H and I, the two key questions, that doesn't mean that that's the way you would create your pitch, or that you wouldn't revisit some of your thoughts as you develop your ideas, as you complete the item. But with the two key questions, this is now another way of looking at your proposed research. So moving away from the how you're going to do it, it's now very much why. And in fact, H, I, and J, so including the contribution, you can think of the why of your research. And I think generally the finalists for your competition did some pretty decent work in terms of identifying the newness and novelty. What I think many of the entries did was to not fall for the trap of stating a trivial novelty or newness. So so one general example of this, which I don't believe, I don't think we saw in the entries, thank goodness, because this would be a weak answer to what's new, is if you're doing a quantitative study and you choose Vietnam as your country setting, a trivial and weak response for this would be to say, well, I'm doing this in Vietnam and it hasn't been done in Vietnam before. And I think that would be a weak answer to the newness or novelty. Now, that's not to say, it shouldn't be misinterpreted as me saying that, or I have some sort of bias or prejudice against studies in Vietnam or any single country. That's not the point. The point is you have to, whatever your context, and it makes sense you would choose your home country to examine, you need to show and demonstrate that is a good choice. Choosing that setting is academically sound. And so really good papers you will see, and there are really good papers that are written using Vietnamese data. One of the reasons they're really good is they show and argue why they've chosen, why it's been a good choice from an academic and scholarly point of view to choose that setting. And I think generally the finalists did a pretty good job of that. So that's very good. So the thing that many of the entries realized was it's not enough to have a good answer for what's new. You need to combine that with a good justification for why it's important. So why is your study important? It's important not only because it's new, but it's important because it has some meaningful impact, not only in academia, but maybe on some key stakeholders that relate to the particular topic in hand. Excuse me. So I think many of the finalists did a pretty decent job of then coming in and saying, hey, it's not only new and novel, but it is important to do this research for a range of reasons. And then the contribution is like the one bottom line. It's like trying to put all of that into one seamless argument as to how you're going to add to knowledge in the field. So as researchers, our main goal is to create new knowledge. And so the contribution is now your chance and your challenge to articulate that the essence of that new knowledge that goes beyond it being just new and novel. It goes beyond it being important in some narrow sense. Now you're trying to make a case for why, in a bigger sense, it is something that scholars will take note of in the field, and so this is an incredibly challenging piece of the puzzle, if you like. Now, the other considerations, I would say generally, but and partly I think the reason that generally entries entries to the competition aren't so strong. And I think one of the reasons is by the time I guess there's a mentality of it is linear, people do it linearly. And so, and I think that's wrong. That's the wrong approach. But if you do it linearly, even though this is, a relatively simple exercise, 1,000 words, when you get to the end, it's like the last item. You're running out of steam. You're running out of excitement and energy. And so whatever you do last, you might be rushing. You might just think, oh, okay, other considerations, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I've seen entries that just leave this blank. Now, none of the finalists left it blank, but it is worth thinking about what other things could be relevant to the research that are not well captured by any of the items above. Now, I won't go into details here of the sorts of things that I would be after. I recommend you read the Pitching Research SSRM paper. It talks about these a bit. But one that I will give you as an example, and this was probably one that not all of the entries dealt with at all or well, was target journals. Okay, so I think it's incredibly important, sort of like a calibration of all the other information as to the journal that you realistically are targeting. And so one mistake or one flaw and weakness is to put in aspirational journals. So I think if you're working in finance, for example, which is my field, the number one journal in the world is the Journal of Finance. So if you put here as your target journal, the Journal of Finance, I just don't think that's very helpful, because very few people publish in the Journal of Finance. It's aspirational. Fine, it's good to have an aspiration, but it's not really helping to start a conversation and convey a message. So what would be much better there in terms of target journals is to think about, well, ambitious journals, but ones that you might realistically have a chance of getting into. And so it's not going to be the top tier journals. All right. So let me just skip over a bit of this now, because I can see that my time is running out. I want to go to this slide because this will allow me to address the question of the simple criteria that we use for the global competition. And this does vary from what a little bit from what you're doing for your competition. And this is a very simple 5-dimension approach where simple to the point of to the extent that they're all equally weighted. Now I've played around with unequally weighting these, and it just doesn't seem to make any difference. So I get, you know, when we have our semi-final pool and I get the international judges, you know, they're donating their time, they're volunteering their time. And I think the simplest thing I can do is to tell them, just read the pictures. Of course, see what is in each of the items, but rather than grade each of the items in terms of their quality, grade the whole thing in terms of these five criteria. So first is looking for clarity. So a general feeling of, across all the 11 items, is it clear, focused, and to the point? Across all the 11 items, the second one is, do you feel there's a lot of meaningful content? Okay, rather than superficial or unmeaningful content. The third is to make a judgment on how much effort has been put into this. So again, looking at the general product, do you feel like this is there's a significant effort, or it's been rushed? The fourth one is to think about how interconnected all the elements are. And the fifth one is to make a judgment on how good it could start a conversation with an expert in the field. So many of these you will think, well, this is all very vague and judgmental, and you know, honestly, that's true. So it is going to make it difficult for you to try and fool the system. All I can say to you is, rather than worrying too much about these criteria, I would certainly, you know, look at them and process them and think about it. But in the end, just do the best you can. And you know, if you do, you know, the best you can is clear, it's meaningful. You put in effort, and we can see that effort. There's internal connectivity, and it would start a conversation. There is communication. Then you're going to do well. So that would be that general advice in terms of how we are going to evaluate these in the bigger competition. And I've already mentioned 1,000 words is your goal. So you don't have to get 1,000 exactly. If it's 900, that's fine. If it's 1,100, that's fine. If it's 800, that's probably still okay. And if it's 1,200, they're the limits. After that, we get a little bit concerned if you're way under 800 or way over 1,200. Now, there's a number of resources that you can avail yourselves of. In fact, the pitchingresearch.com is where you will eventually submit the paper. This is a screenshot of the web material. So I'm going to skip over that. I'm going to say a few brief comments on the micro-credential. I'm going to make them brief for two reasons. One is I'm running out of time, and two is, as I've already said, if there is one location in the world where we have a lot of experts in terms of doing this course, they are in Vietnam, and there have been a lot of Vietnamese students that have completed the course. And so it should be relatively easy for you to find someone in your community, in KBN for sure. KBN is going to have a lot of advice, and because, you know, it's a little bit of a process to sign up, and I apologize for this. This is a micro-credential course at Bond University. It's totally free. The time frame that we've got in mind is 5 to 10 hours. We normally, and you'd be allowed to work on it for up to 90 days normally, but you're only got 3 weeks to go if you want to get into the competition and you haven't entered yet. So in terms of satisfactory completion, there's a final quiz. Now there's 3 modules in the course. There are practice quizzes at the end of each module, but the final quiz is a quiz that covers the entire course. And again, there's a lot of experts within your KBN network that know to give you advice if somehow you're tripping up on this. But you need to get 70% for that and for that final quiz. You can redo the final quiz. Most people get 70 or more on the first try. I've not heard of anyone who's tried a second time that doesn't get the 70%. And then you'll get an official certificate from Bond University. Your name would be in there rather than Bond Learner. Okay, and that would be the evidence that we need for you to be eligible for the IGPRC 2023. So there's a whole bunch of slides now in terms of a screenshot of what you would see if you click that link. So this is the landing page. If you were to scroll down, you get to the bottom and it would then say, all right, if you want to do the course, sign up here. Got to click a few things, got to type in some information, your name, your email address, so you have a communication link. There's slides. There's a bunch of slides here I'm just going to skip completely over due to time and knowing you have the expertise here. I know Duke was very meticulous on this. When we first launched the micro-credential many months, in fact, last year, and worked up a lot of guidance. And in fact, I need to, in the appendix of these slides, I think many of the slides come from, if not all of them, come from Dr. Duke. So I appreciate her guidance and help on this. So these are just some screenshots as you go through the course. If you wanted to refer to these, you could see that you're on the right track. So I'm going to skip over these until we get to this one. So this is a screen that you want to see. After you've done the quiz and you get your 70%, it will say congratulations. And until you see that screen, you haven't finished. And then it says, go to your dashboard and you'll see an icon and it's circled here in yellow. And then if you click that icon, you'll be able to download your certificate with your name on it. So that's what you need to do. Again, you have a lot of expertise in the KBN network to help you overcome any hurdles there. So in the remaining 10 or so minutes, for those that, well, this will be a bit of an introduction to the finalists of your competition, because they're part of this overall competition, and they will feed in, or at least the winner will feed in as a semi-finalist into this competition. I've got a little diagram I can show you, or I will show you shortly on how this works. So this will then set the scene for what the finalists this evening are competing for. But it's also relevant for those of you that want to come in through the rest of the world avenue, and I'll also explain that. So in terms of getting more information and access to the competition, this is the link that you would need. So pitchingresearch.com/competitions. And in terms of eligibility, well, we've opened this to research-enabled undergraduates. That's about the sort of the most, how should I say it, basic level of entry. And then it goes through the postgrad research students, PhD students, and it's even open to early career researchers in any discipline. So let me skip on. I just should quickly acknowledge our platinum sponsors. And we have 3 platinum sponsors for the competition: the Bond University, Elsevier Publishers, and the Asia Pacific Applied Economics Association. So thank you to them. So remember, step 1 was you need to be an Inspires member. Just to remind you of how to attain that membership. Yeah, the first link here should be all that you need. Take about 5 minutes to put in some information there, and then you're a member of Inspires. then the second step, so now I'm just repeating the very first slide I started with this evening. You need to successfully complete the Pitching Research Matters micro-credential course. Here's the link again for you to get to the landing page, and you could start that as soon as you like. For those of you that would like still to enter the IGPRC, and I'd strongly urge you to consider that. And then the third step is that you have to sit down and actually create your pitch and then submit it through the pitchingresearch.com website. It's actually pitchingresearch.com/create. And if you hit that link, and that link is live, when you get these slides, you'll be able to click that, and it will take you to, I'll show you, I'll take you to that screenshot in a minute. But what I wanted to explain was the bigger picture of the competition. So across the sort of top there, we have C1, C2, and so on. So these are the country coordinated areas of the competition. So one of those countries is Vietnam. So let's assume C1 is Vietnam. Then one winner, and from tonight, in fact, will go in as a semi-finalist, into the semi-finalist pool. And last year we had about 25 semi-finalists. Now there are some other country coordinated avenues. The ones that I can remember, and the big contenders are Malaysia and Indonesia. So the three big country coordinated zones are Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia. I can tell you that. So there'll definitely be a winner from each of those. Now, if you look over to the top right, there's other countries. This is what I was referring to earlier, and that's what I referred to as the rest of the world. So if you haven't entered the competition yet, you'd like to still enter, you can't come through the Vietnam route anymore. That is now closed, but you can come through the rest of the world route. And depending on the size of the pool, there will be at least one, but quite possibly more than one winner that comes through that route. So there could be, it could be possible for you to enter the competition, or enter the semi-final pool, I should say, by being one of the winners from that rest of the world category. So as I said, probably about 20 to 25 semi-finalists, all determined based on the written pitch. And then, excuse me, I will engage an international panel to help me select from that pool of 20 to 25 semi-finalists, a top 6. And the top 6 will then go into the grand final. So the main action right now, I mean, for the Vietnam, you're actually having an oral pitch as well, but mostly in all the other countries, it will just be based on the written pitch until you get, or to get into the grand final, and then there will be an oral pitch in terms of a grand final event, and the outcome, the determination of the winner for the grand final will be based on both the quality of the written and oral. It mostly is going to be about the written until there are these oral finals, but you're having a special oral final for your Vietnam competition. In terms of the prizes, this year we don't quite have the same funding as we did in the first year, but it's still a very exciting #1 prize. So the overall winner will receive 5,000 Australian dollars. And I guess many of you will know that the winner last year was the Vietnam entry. So you know, it's true that from your part of the world, I think particularly because of the great guidance that you get from Dr. Duke and Ben and others, and apologies for not mentioning anyone else, because I know you've got a big team in the KBN. I think that gives you a special advantage for being competitive. Second place, 2,000 Australian dollars, and then each of the other grand finalists will also win 1,000 Australian dollars. So we have a prize pool for the grand final of 11,000 Australian dollars. Now, there are some other prizes available as well. If you want to find out more information, you can get this from the materials, but quite a number of these you won't be eligible for. For example, we have an Indigenous Researcher Prize for Australia and New Zealand. There's a New Zealand related prize there. So I wouldn't be too worried about these other prizes. I mean, the main thing I think that in terms of the prize money is what happens in the grand final. I guess the one thing you should have your eye on is 6 country-based winners, and I'm like, there's no guarantees, but I'm very confident that if Vietnam doesn't get in the grand final, you'll be one of those 6 country-based winners. So it's, as I said, no guarantees, but I think it's very likely someone from Vietnam, in terms of this global competition, will win at least $1,000, so 1,000 Australian dollars. So in terms of the entry, I was going to jump to this a little bit earlier, but to create your pitch and then submit it to the Inspires Global Pitching Research Competition, you will need to follow this link, so pitchingresearch.com/create. And basically another way of getting there is this is the homepage for the pitchingresearch.com, is to click that start pitching icon or link, I guess icon, right in the top right hand corner. And if you click that start pitching and you've already signed up, so if you haven't signed up, there's a sign up process, and I'm sorry that there's an additional sign up process here, but there is. You would then see a screen, something like I'm showing you now. So this is a screenshot. It's not live. The top half is all about your pitches. So you know, depending on how many different pitches you put into the system, they will be listed there. Most of you probably will only have one. You might have 1 or 2. And then at the bottom half of the screen, it's about the competition. So the IGPRC 2023, and you need to register there, and then you get some instructions on how to submit your entry, and your entry would come from one of the pitches in that list at the top of the screen. So this would, you know, this is just generic that you're seeing here. It's actually, I guess, a screenshot of my site, but for you, yours would look different because you will have your own activity there. And so you would create your pitch in this site and then select it as your, you know, whichever the one is that you want to enter into the competition, you'd select it and submit it. So as I've already said, for the Inspires Global Pitching Research Competition, the criteria is all around the golden rules of clarity, meaningful, effort, connectivity, and conversation. So the critical date on this slide is that deadline of 30th of September. So there is, as you know, 3 weeks, and it's the 30th of September. So it's still doable. You would need to get cracking in terms of signing up for the micro credential. one way of thinking of it is if it does take you 10 hours, if you do at least, if you do an hour a day over the next 10 days, so you work on the weekend as well, which, I know many of you do, then you would still have another 10 or so days. And in fact, you could be working on your pitch anyway, while simultaneously while you're doing that micro-credential. So I think pretty much that's all I wanted to talk to you about tonight. So I hope that's been very helpful to you. I hope it helps to give a context to the finalists for tonight when you listen to their oral pitch, but it also gives you a context to the bigger competition, the IGPRC 2023 itself, and that encourages as many of you to seriously consider coming in through the rest of the world route for that competition. You'd be very, very welcome. So thank you very much, and I think I'm right on time. If my memory serves me correctly, it was 11:05 my term. I had to finish. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Pfaff. You are exactly on time. And on the behalf of all Vietnamese participants, we would highly appreciate your time and your valuable experience and information about the Global Pitching Research Competition, and more importantly, the strict requirement in every part of your template that all the Vietnamese participants can have a better understanding of how to do their better work in the next level, which is the global level. And it's time for the live presentation. Professor Pfaff, are you tired now? Would you be willing to stay with us longer to listen to a few live presentation?
Well, look, to be honest, I am pretty tired. I don't know whether,
Yeah, we understand. We understand that it's 11 p.m. in your country now. Yeah,
Yes.
And it's time to do live presentation, and I'm going to introduce the first author who is going to present the first research title, which
Good
is
luck, everyone.
which is now I would like to invite author Đặng Bảo Ngọc. Her research topic is determinants of intention to use artificial intelligence in healthcare among nursing students. Ngọc, are you here and are you ready? Thi Đức, can you please unmute Ngọc?
Yes, you should be able to now, Ngọc. Yeah, everyone should be. So I put the waiting room, all right?
Yeah. Ngọc, please introduce your affiliation.
Hello everyone, hello the professors. My name is Ngọc. I am from the College of Health Science in University. Now I'd like to share my screen. Sorry for any technical problems. I'm sorry, but currently I cannot share my screen. Can you able me to share my screen, please?
You should be able to now, Ngọc. Sorry.
Please wait for me for a few minutes. There are some technical problems.
So I think for the other participants to get yourself ready, can you please make sure that you have your slide on your computer, and as soon as I'm calling your name and your research topic, then you can get ready immediately.
I'm sorry, but can you see my screen?
Yeah, everyone can see your screen, and we understand that you are the first person and you are a little bit nervous and takes a little bit more time to get ready. We understand. Where is she now?
It's offline, I think. There's a problem with her internet connection.
Yeah, I think I should move to the second one and then she can present afterwards.
Okay, so the second person who will present is Zheng Weng. Are you ready? Are you here now, Zheng Weng? Oh yeah, we see you. And your research title is Is competitiveness the culprit? Mechanisms behind youth Facebook use and emotional well-being.
Sorry, I'm trying to look for. I think it's here. Yeah. So, everyone, I'm Trần, and I'm from Constructor University, former Jacobs University in Germany. And yes, I think I'm gonna present this. Okay. Should I start now or I don't know?
Yes, please get started now because it's now 8:11
Okay.
local time. So you are given 5 minutes to do your presentation. You can get started now.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so let's think about these questions. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when it comes to social media? Or what kind of content do you want or do not want to expose to your younger siblings or your children? And think about it for a second before I'm going through some of my motivations and study design. So social media, especially Facebook, is becoming more and more prevalent, especially among the youngsters. And research has shown its huge effects on users' mental well-being. However, the results are mixed and the reasons are known. But good for us that when we look into the literature, we can figure out some problems that it may have. First of all, many studies have lacked certain theoretical support. They go to investigate the direct relationship between social media and mental well-being without looking into the mechanisms in between. And many of them have used pretty simple measurements for social media, such as time only. While social media is a very complex platform that needs a lot of considerations. For example, how do users approach the social media, or what kind of content are they exposed to on a daily basis? And the third problem would be many studies have narrowed down mental well-being into a negative field. They are looking at depression, anxiety, negative feelings, without looking at it as a multifaceted factor. And for those reasons, our study is set out to explore the mechanisms behind the Facebook impacts on adolescents' well-being. Specifically, we're gonna go to reinvestigate the correlations between Facebook and emotional well-being, moderating by competitiveness. competitiveness is a very interesting trait, especially for Asian youth. However, it is pretty under-researched in social media research. And at the same time, we want to explore the potential mediators, such as upper social comparison and ruminations in this relationship. So basically, upper social comparison means people have the tendency to compare themselves to superior peers, while ruminations is people unconsciously or consciously think about the problems for a prolonged period of time. And what we are trying to do here is to distribute a survey through Facebook groups to approach Facebook adolescent users. And of course, we need to obtain the ethical clearance from Constructive University Institutional Board before doing it. And then we're going to use RStudio to analyze the data. And the primary approach that we're using here is structural equation modeling to analyze them. And what we are hoping to achieve here is to look at the nature of Facebook, a very prevalent social media platform. And by employing different scales to look at what kind of contents the users are exposed to, we can see what specifically are affecting them. At the same time, we want to take a neutral stance to look at mental well-being by exploring both positive and negative effects. In order to create both theoretical and practical insights to help your researchers to understand the mechanisms more and produce better interventions, as well as to provide knowledge for educators and parents to guide their children into mindful use of social media, and for the developers to, of course, create better algorithms suitable for different age groups. And before coming to an end, I want to mention a potential risk that we may face. The complexity of individual difference may cause a biased or a null results to our studies. And in order to improve the study design better, we are open to seek for guidance and collaborations from fellow researchers. And thank you very much for listening, and thank you for letting me speak a sitting time. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm so sorry for that.
Excellent work. You have completed your presentation on time. And chị Đức, I have seen that Bảo Ngọc is in the waiting room now. So can you please let her in? And
No,
she can
she's in. Yeah, she's in.
Oh, okay, excellent. So Ngọc, are you ready to do it now?
Thank you, Kwon.
I'm sorry for the connection problem. I will share my screen immediately. So hello everyone. Today I stand virtually before you to present my undergraduate research study, which titled Determinants of Intention to Use Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare Among Nursing Students, a study in Vietnam. So in a world where healthcare is on the brink of a technological revolution, my research idea endeavors to shed light on the determinants that shape nursing students' inclination to embrace and to integrate artificial intelligence or AIs within the healthcare industry in Vietnam. So there are two focused research questions I want to seek the answers for. The first one is, what are the knowledge and perspectives of nursing students in Vietnam regarding artificial intelligence? And what are the key determinants that shape their willingness to embrace and integrate these transformative technologies within the healthcare domain? So before delving into details, let me first explain to you some key concepts by drawing attention to the words of some esteemed authors listed here. So basically, the concept of AI encompasses a range of techniques enabling computers to mimic human cognitive functions, offering a multifaceted support in healthcare, from administrative tasks to specialized functions like image analysis and precision medicine. Yet this profound transformation is not without its challenges. Healthcare workers worldwide grapple within the integration of AI, but in this moment, we should also turn our gaze towards the future, the nursing students, the architects of the compassionate care in tomorrow's world. So why, you may ask, are nursing students so crucial in this narrative? So the answer lies in a unique blend of knowledge, empathy, and tech-savvy characteristics that define them. So nursing students are the future workforce of healthcare might bring fresh and innovative perspectives that resonate with their values and principles of the profession and the contemporary era. So understanding their views not only reflects receptiveness to innovation, but also illuminates ethical dilemmas tied to the novel technologies nowadays. So the core points of this study revolves around exploring the factors that influence the nursing students' willingness to use artificial intelligence in healthcare. And I seek to understand how nursing students subjectively perceive the role of AI, its potential benefits, and implication it might have within the healthcare sector. So as I read the materials, I realized that there's a theoretical tension between the already existed models, the unified theory of acceptance and use of the technology, and the technology acceptance model here. It lacks the unique context of nursing, education, and healthcare. So on the one hand, the UT, and TAM are well recognized theories that explain the factors influencing technology acceptance and use in various contexts. On the other hand, nursing, education, and healthcare have their own distinct dynamics and values that need to be considered. So based on the already existed model, I would like to propose a new one which bridging the gap between the established models and the unique context of nursing education. So the central hypothesis of this study demonstrates that nursing students are willing to embrace AI in their future patient care based on various independent variables, including personal factors, social influence, and the nature of the AI product itself. So in terms of data, this study spanned through 3 renowned institutions which provide diverse teaching approaches and student populations, which help offering a comprehensive view of nursing education in Vietnam, and data collection in mixed method approach, incorporating a quantitative survey and a qualitative interviews, ensuring a profound understanding of determinants. So what makes this idea new? So it explores nursing students' unique perspective, which is vital for the future healthcare workforce, shaped by education and training. And it's also the first of its kind in Vietnam, which addressed like distinct nursing. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thumbs up. But you have done a very good job now. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Let me
Yeah.
stop there.
Yeah, thank you so much. You did the best job. Thank you. And the third topic would be the integration of social media in task-based language teaching to enhance language students' speaking skill. We would like to invite a group of authors, Vương Thị Minh Yu and her team members.
Yeah, please wait for me a little minute to share the screen.
Yeah, sure. As soon as you are ready, we will set the timer.
Okay, our team will start now.
Okay, then we can start the timer. Okay, please start. Please start now.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are from Ho Chi Minh University of Education. Our supervisor is Mr. Lê Nguyễn Như Anh, a lecturer in our university. On behalf of my team, I'm here to give you an oral pitch about research topic, the integration of social media in task-based language teaching, or TBLT for short, to enhance language students' speaking skill. So we have seen that students nowadays have some limitation in their speaking practice opportunities in the class. And also, it's very hard for teachers nowadays to attract language learners with their speaking activities outside the classroom. So we have seen that task-based language teaching, TBLT, offer a very unique solution because it focuses on fluency and focuses on communication skill. However, it's very hard for teachers to implement this approach because of some time constraint and resources. And with the rise of social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and also Instagram, we've seen that these platforms may offer unique opportunities for language learners to engage into speaking activities outside the classroom. And with the research topic, we explore two questions as we see on the screen. To what extent can social media-based TBLT can enhance students' speaking skill? And number two, to what extent do the use of social media-based TBLT affect students' attitude towards learning speaking? So to solve the question, we drawn from relevant research. Our paper will delve into TBLT principles, its practical applications, and investigate social media role in language learning. Also, some factors about language learner learning experience. About our idea, we believe that students can make use of TikTok for various speaking activities like short videos for conversation, role play, debates, etc. Meanwhile, we incorporate Rawl's task-based language teaching framework into our English lesson, and based on the 2018 Vietnamese national curriculum. The process involves, as you see on the screen, firstly, we include task input, then it's gone pedagogic task is like a task to help students to do the task much more easier. And then it is the target task performance. Students implement a task. And the last one, that is task follow-up. Students will submit the video on TikTok, receive the feedback from their peers, and receive the feedback from teachers. Teachers also make notes of students' common mistakes to make it as a material for the future lesson. About our data. The study will take place in a Vietnamese high school, so the convenience sampling is chosen, and also because of the insignificant pre-test difference between two non-English major classes with 18 participants, divided into experimental and control group. The study runs for 10 weeks, beginning in March 2024. Data collection includes speaking tests, test products, surveys for quantitative data, and interviews to gain insights into students' questionnaire response. Our research employs an explanatory sequential approach. We use SPSS software to analyze quantitative data. For qualitative data, we will adopt thematic analysis. Instruments like IELTS speaking pre-test and post-test, test product like TikTok video, a Likert scale questionnaire, and interviews are also employed. So what set our research apart? We found a common shortcoming in existing research, a lack of systematic approach that make use of the unique strengths of social media nowadays. Using task-based language teaching approach, we aim to address this gap and to create a variety of task-based speaking activities for students to engage outside the classroom. Our focus is on evaluating effectiveness of these speaking activities and also evaluate whether they help students to improve their speaking or improve their learning experience. And that is also the end of our group presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
You still have 50 seconds. Okay.
But she's done. Thank you for your very good presentation, and you have made it on time. Congratulations. let's move to the fourth presentation. Okay, the timer is now done. We will start again with the fourth presentation. And next, please welcome Hoàng Lê Minh Dũng. Are you here, Dũng?
Yes, I'm here.
His research topic is beyond image fixation. When you are ready, please let me know. I will start the timer.
Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes. Excuse me. Before you get started, I just have a question for the person who has just presented her, who has just done her presentation, because we would love to know the code of your team. Can you please leave a message? And now Dũng can get started. Dũng, you can do it now, Dũng.
Okay, as the Vietnamese LGBTQ community celebrate Pride Month last June, some are speaking out about the priority of appearance in this culture, and failing to measure up to this fit can be a deal breaker. Which is why look and self-image are essential to the Vietnamese LGBTQ community. Does it has to do with past experiences? Does it has to do with how we internalize those fears into the past, into our self-worth? These curiosity led to the genesis of my research proposal, that is, do adverse childhood experiences, depression, and internalized homophobia explain body image fixation among Vietnamese LGBTQ adolescents? My name is Hoàng Lê Minh Dũng, and this is the predicament that I struggled during my lifetime as a member of the LGBTQ community. With that, I set about answering 3 questions. 1, what is the association between adverse childhood experiences and image fixation among Vietnamese LGBTQ adolescents? 2, how do depression and internalized homophobia impact and interact with this relationship as a whole? 3, are there any demographic factors that account for differences in trauma appraisal? Here are some Q1 keys paper that set the foundation for my proposal. So we all agree that childhood and adolescence are 2 crucial transitional stages in human life because they require care, guidance, and empathy to lay a foundation for understanding self, others, and the world. So children who experience any traumatic disturbances that was not fully elaborated early on could potentially translate into negative impacts on their sense of self later on. As the children grow up and identify themselves within the LGBTQ community, the emergence of self-identity concerning sexual orientation and gender identity would be vulnerable enough, yet to be fraught with various forms of stigmatization and victimization. Now, schema theory provides a valuable framework for how individuals interpret new experiences with expectation and assumption based on previously learned information. Now, if we take it from there, the idea is that past adverse childhood experiences may influence the sensitivity of one processing their own appearance. In other words, body image fixation. I also speculate that internalized homophobia mediate the relationship between past adverse childhood experiences and body image fixation. At the same time, depression may moderate the relationship between adverse childhood experiences and body image fixation. Now, here's an illustration of all 3 hypotheses. Despite progress in federal legislation recently, Vietnam still encounters challenges with its deep-rooted heteronormativity culture, misconception of discipline for children, social indifference to child abuse, and sexual and gender minority discrimination. And for this reason, Vietnam and the LGBTQ population was chosen for this study. So in my study, I plan to recruit an ideal sample size of 385 Vietnamese adolescents who identify themselves as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender from multiple provinces and cities throughout Vietnam. In our survey, I will use 4 front and back translated measures to test our hypotheses. For statistical analysis, SPSS and AMOS, software will be assisted in examining covariant-based structural equation models, mediation and moderator analyses, scale validation, correlation, chi-square goodness of fit, and multiple regression. As the risk for participating into this study is high, since many participants may have to recall past traumatic experiences, once completing the survey, we will send them a debrief form and a directory of LGBTQ affirmative counseling and crisis hotline services in Vietnam for their well-being. They also have an option to withdraw this from the study and data analysis. So what's new here? Firstly, this study will be the first to address the power of childhood experiences on future sexual identity development, mood regulation, self-worth, and body image issues among Vietnamese LGBTQ community. Next, the study will be the first attempt to address ongoing inconsistent and limited national data gaps of child abuse and sexual minority discrimination cases. Lastly, this will spark an interest in understanding the coping mechanism for resilience and identity development issues among Vietnamese LGBTQ community. Together, this research can ignite something small yet meaningful to begin the work to strengthen a healthy Vietnam. Thank you very much for your time and listening.
Excellent, Dũng. You have just completed your presentation just on time. Congratulations. Let's move to the next one. I would like to invite the two authors, Nguyễn Hoàng Bảo Trân and Lâm Thị Huyền Đông. Their research title is A Moral Management and Employees Withdrawal Behaviors, the Role of Psychological Contract Breach.
Hi, everyone. My teammate will present the slides.
Okay, sure. As soon as you are ready, please let me know. I will start the timer.
Sure.
Can you see it?
We can, oh yeah, we can see your slide now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, so I guess we will start now.
Sure.
Hello, everyone. My name is, yes?
Sure. Yeah, please do it now.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Bảo Trân, and this is my teammate Huyền Đông. To be on behalf of our team, I would like to talk about our research idea, a model management and employees withdrawal behaviors, the role of psychological contract breach. Human resources management is crucial for company development, but unsuitable management styles can lead to employees withdrawal behaviors. Our study focuses on amoral management, a concept that has received limited attention. It refers to a leader's failure to address the ethical issues and prioritize self-interest, which is believed to contribute to the employee's withdrawal behaviors. This concept differs from the ethical and the unethical leadership styles because they are characterized by an inclination toward the avoidance and ambiguity instead of the active engagement. Whether doing this intentionally or unintentionally, managing amorally does not support employees with guidance regarding the moral decision-making process and behaviors. Besides that, psychological contract breach refers to the perceived broken promises that the employees feel like they have received from the employer in exchange for their work. It has become a significant issue for companies because it leads the employees to believe that their employer doesn't value them, and it can negatively affect their attitude toward work. So it is believed to change the relationship between the leaders, amoral management, and the employees' withdrawal behaviors at the workplace. Despite the importance of it, few studies have explored the relationship among leaders, amoral management, and the employees' withdrawal behavior, and also the psychological contract breach. Based on the literature, we addressed the two research gaps. This is the relationship between amoral management and employees' withdrawal behaviors, and also the moderating role of psychological contract breach in this relationship. Therefore, this study aims to address the following questions. How does amoral management can influence the employees' withdrawal behavior in the workplace? And how does the psychological contract breach moderate the relationship between amoral management and the employees' withdrawal behavior? We move to the next section. I will talk about the methodology. Quantitative method will be applied in this study. To be more specific, we will collect the data from employees working at multinational corporations in Ho Chi Minh City in Bình Dương province and also Dong Nai province in Vietnam. Data will be collected through a survey questionnaire using the convenience sampling. Our sample size will be around like 300 to 400 employees with at least 2 years of work in the current company so that they can have the experience to evaluate their company's leadership style. And also to minimize the bias, we will use a time-lag data collection method, collecting the responses at 2 different times, 4 weeks apart. The process package in SPSS will be used to analyze and also further evaluate the moderating and the mediating effects. This is the research model for our study. We expect that this research is pioneering, being the first empirical study to investigate the role of moral management in employees' withdrawal behavior, especially the moderating role of psychological contract breach. Through our study, we provide valuable insights into the moral management and employee robust data collection methods, ensuring the reliability and validity of our findings. This study contributes to the deeper understanding of moral management practices and as well as its impact on the organizational total performance and the employer-employee relationships. Moreover, we employ the time-lag technique and gather data from diverse sources, allowing us to dive deeper into the understanding of moral management and its impact on employees' withdrawal behaviors. Additionally, our study sheds light on the crucial role of psychological contract breach as a moderating factor. This finding contributes to both theoretical knowledge and practical implications, emphasizing the significance of leaders being aware of and also minimizing the possible drawback of moral management practices. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Excellent. You could complete your presentation in less than 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me adjust my timer first before I announce the next presentation. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, everyone, please move to the sixth presentation. We would like to invite the 3 authors, Nguyễn Thị Thu Uyên, Đinh Thị Phương Thảo, Nguyễn Nhật Quang. Their research title is Employee Data Protection, Right to Disconnect Privacy in the AI Context.
Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm sorry for making you wait.
Yes, everyone can hear you.
Oh,
when you are ready, just let me know. I will start the timer.
Yes, we are ready now. So our presentation, our work will be employee data protection, right to disconnect and privacy in the AI context. I will represent our group of 3. Our research will address the 3 core questions. How do China and Germany's labor law align with the AI development? And what factors drive this distinction? What specific constraints does Vietnam face? And how can these insights fortify existing labor laws? And how can we prepare for the potential implementation hurdles when aligning Vietnam's labor law with AI demands? Our focus is on employment and labor law provisions relating to AI development, covering privacy, worker monitoring, and the right to be explained in AI decisions, safety in human-machine interaction, and anti-discrimination and labor law, employment law. At this very moment, there is no definition to the right of disconnect, and employees' privacy is constantly at risk, as shown in the pandemic. To support our analysis, we gather data from international employment law and specific AI development regulation in China, Germany, and Vietnam. Studying Chinese law, German law, and Vietnamese law is crucial for business, researchers, and policymakers in the context of AI landscape. Germany's economic influence, striking data protection regulation, and EU leadership in shaping AI's policy make understanding its legal framework essential. The European Commission proposed the first EU regulation framework for AI in April 2023. China's technological powerhouse status, vast consumer market, and government policy influence AI development, making understanding China regulation essential. The Cyberspace Administration of China introduced the new AI regulation in March 2021, and Vietnam emerging tech hub status and government status from government support for technological advance make studying Vietnam law essential for business and researcher in the dynamic market and will set an example for developing countries. Our research methods comprise 4 fundamental approaches. The analytical method, which dominates our discussion by combining the theoretical study with practical application, the synthetic method, primary use for data gathering, viewpoint analysis, and formulating recommendation. The systematic method employ and assessing consistency in typical employment law issues within AI development. And the comparative method, most important, essential for examining and contrasting labor and employment laws across China, Germany, and Vietnam, and proposing enhancement for Vietnam's enforcement capacity. Regarding novelty, we have identified challenges, including delays in AI-related regulation, identification of AI ultimate positions, transparency in workplace data use, and evaluation of AI's labor market impact. The legal significance of AI on employment is paramount, as AI systems are increasingly used for workplace monitoring, hiring, and managing workforces. Adapting employment law is crucial for maintaining stability, upholding individual rights, and staying globally integrated while adhering to the rule of law. In conclusion, our research provides a unique and comprehensive analysis of labor and employment law in the context of AI development. We have defined the AI-related labor law, comparing China, Germany, and Vietnam's law, and identifying underlying reasons for similarities and differences. Our study aims to draw valuable lessons from various countries' experience as above to apply them to Vietnam's labor and employment law in the context of AI developments. We also aim to contribute to the ongoing debate of AI-driven labor practices and offers valuable, significant insights to enhance Vietnam's labor law and in the context of AI and even other developing countries. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Excellent. You could finish your presentation in less than 5 minutes. Congratulations. Now we are moving to the 7th presentation. I would like to invite the author, Bùi Quốc Huy, and his research title is Analyzing the Long-Range Correlation in Blockchain Markets, a DFA approach.
Can you guys see my screen well?
Yes, we can see it clearly.
And you can hear me well, right? Thank you very much.
Yes, we can hear you too.
All right. Thank you. So I think I will start my presentation shortly.
Sure.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Dear examiner and fellow participant. My name is Bùi Quốc Huy, and I am a PhD student in Taylor University, Malaysia. Today, I'm happy to present my research idea related to the blockchain market. This is a very interesting topic, and the research title is Analyzing the Long-Range Correlation in Blockchain Market, DFA approach. And this presentation is for the VNPRC 2023. Okay, so first look at, so here's my slide. I only have one slide because I'm not aware that we can have more than one. So firstly, we have some key terms to define here. You must have heard about the word blockchain and Bitcoin, right? But they are very different toward each other. Blockchain is technology, while Bitcoin is the virtual currency that's running on this technology. So it's just like crypto or Bitcoin is a car, while blockchain is a road itself. So apart from cryptocurrency, there's two newer and more innovative products, which is DeFi, stand for decentralized finance token, which is like it's offering the same service as a commercial bank. So you can buy, you can borrow money, lending money, or making transaction using this DeFi. And for NFT, it is a digital ownership of one particular link file. It could be a painting, a musical song, or anything. So these are the new product on the blockchain market. So blockchain market is nowadays is growing very fast. It's reaching to 1.2 trillion USD, and it's 3 times the GDP of Vietnam last year. However, this market is heavily volatile, so it's going up and down like crazy, and it's causing many crash to a lot of trader and investor. So it's really triggered me to want to understand what is the dynamic behind this blockchain market. So that motivated me to investigate about the dynamics in this market. So the way, my key idea is that I'm using the momentum effect, which is a matrix. This is a very well-known matrix in finance to detecting the trend or the pattern of price movement in the time series. And this momentum effect can be captured by the DFA, which stands for the trend fluctuation analysis. And my hypothesis is, I have two hypotheses. So I want to measure what is the momentum effect in this blockchain market, including crypto, DeFi, and NFT, because they are very different. And what is the key difference between them, or they are similar? Okay, so this momentum effect can tell us the information about whether the trend is going to be persistent, which is meaning that it can keep the same pattern as the previous movement, or it can be a random walk, which is moved like very randomly, so there's no trend at all, or anti-persistent, so it's reversing the previous trend. Okay, so this information is very useful for you if you are an investor, and you can tell where the market is going to be up or down, so you can maximize your income or profit. And the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to use the daily closing price 15 market, including 5 from each of the crypto, DeFi, and NFT. And this is going to present the whole of the blockchain market. And this collected from a CoinMarketCap, which is a very credible source. And this is 5 years, so we have enough data for this DFA analysis. The tool I'm going to use R and Python for data cleaning and analysis. For novelty, this is the first study that applying the DFA to exploring momentum effect on DeFi and NFT, because this market is also quite attractive. Now it's worked together is 60 million USD, 60 billion USD, but really at the moment there's very few research on this topic, and it's growing more and more important nowadays. So this is going to fill a research gap. So for the question, so what? So this can be asked as a market indicator for trader to know whether the market going up or down, so you can adjusting their portfolio or their investment, so you can maximize their return. For policy maker, it can also help them to identify when the market is going down, it's going to be crash, so the government can make some decision to reducing the downturn. For the theoretical contribution, this contributes to for us to understand the price dynamic in the different blockchains, whether they are similar or they are very different, because they are fundamentally different in purpose of using. And it also helps us to expand our traditional financial theory with a fresh perspective in the blockchain market. Yes, thank you for listening, and I hope you're enjoying the presentation. Thank you. Lộc đang mute chị Lộc ơi.
I'm sorry, everyone, because I didn't want to distract anybody while you were doing your presentation. That's why I decided to unmute myself. And we have only one presentation left. And who will present the last presentation? Now I would like to invite Nguyễn Thu Hằng. She's the author of a research title, Factors Influencing Farmers' Adoption of Climate Smart Agriculture Practices in Vietnam. And this is our last presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry, not good morning.
Can I see the previous, the titles? Yeah, just 1 second.
So maybe I will start the presentation now.
Yes,
ladies
please.
and
I will start the
gentlemen.
timer.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to discuss the factor influencing farmers' adoption of climate smart agriculture, and from now on will be referred as CSA practices in Vietnam. The main focus of this presentation will be on items A to H, as outlined in the pitching research template created by Professor Robert Fatt, which should be familiar to most of us. The research questions guiding these studies are: what are the primary factors influencing the farmers' adoptions of CSA practices, and how can these factors be effectively addressed to promote widespread implementations in Vietnam? The two key selected papers are from recently published in Type 1 journal, which are the Science of Total Environment and the Agricultural Water Management. For the first paper, it's discussed about the several non-financial factors affect climate smart agriculture practices adoptions at both municipal and farm scales. And for paper 2, research on the economic sustainability of rice farming in Vietnam. In recent decades, Vietnam has experienced remarkable agricultural growth, leading to significant socio-economic improvements. However, this progress has come at an environmental cost, with agriculture becoming a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. Moreover, the increasing impacts of climate change, such as the extreme weather events and saltwater intrusions, call for a shift toward the CSA practices. The CSA practice combines of agriculture and climate change, and using the smart technology to address some of the market needs. It aims to make the agricultural system resilient, efficient, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. However, the adoption of CSA is low due to limited exposures and understanding among farmers and stakeholders, and this highlights the need for improved capabilities and motivates my study. Next, let's discuss the next 3 parts of the building blocks: the ideas, data, and tools. For the idea, our focus is on addressing the challenge faced by Vietnamese, I'm sorry, because of the slides, promoting climate smart agriculture. The dependent variable is the adoptions of CSA, and the independent variables include the contextual factors, such as the environmental factors, the technologies, and the farming, and the technologies, accessibility factors, and human factors, which are demographics, economic outcomes, knowledge, and awareness of CSA. Through this analysis, we aim to understand the unique drivers and barriers in Vietnamese context. This understanding will enable the development of targeted interventions and policies to encourage the CSA adoption among Vietnamese farmers. The research methodology will use a mix of qualitative and quantitative methods. The study will focus on the Red River Delta, the Central Central Coastal Land and the Mekong River Delta, and data will be collected at both municipal and farmer levels. The quantitative data will be gathered through structured questionnaire administered to a representative sample of farmers. This questionnaire will include Likert scale to measure farmer attitudes, perceptions, and familiarity with the CSA. Statistical analysis such as regression model, SPSS, will help to identify relationship between variables and CSA adoptions. And qualitative data will be obtained from interview, field observations, document analysis, and focus group. Thematic analysis technique will be used to categorize and interpret this qualitative data. So far, in summary, these qualitative research methods like interviews, field observation, document analysis, and focus group will provide complementary approach to study the adoption of CSA. And by understanding the contextual, technological, and human factors influencing CSA adoption.
Time's up.
Okay, thank you for your attention.
Yeah, you almost finished your presentation and you did the best job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just quickly tell you my personal opinion about all of the 8 presentations that you have done today. And no later, Dr. Ben Bui and Vũ Bạch will give you more detailed information about your work, both your written and oral work. But I just give you my general information about about how I feel. Honestly, I have watched all of your presentations that you sent to Knowledge Bridge email. And today, when you did your live work, you have done it many times better than what you could do in your recorded video, and you sent your work to us. So I would love to show my expression to your best job that you could do today. And we understand that you have spent lots of time practicing, doing presentation multiple times before attending our grand final. And we all acknowledge your hard work, your dedication, and your decision to attend Vietnam Teaching Research Competition in 2023. And it's time for our 2 examiners, Dr. Ben Bui and Vũ Bạch, to discuss with our country coordinator, Dr. Đức Phan from RMIT, to make their final decision on your final scores. And our examiners will take a break for 10 or 15 minutes to do their work. And while we are here, we will talk more about what do you think about the template designed and developed by Professor Pfaff. And if anyone is ready to share your opinion about how you experienced, how you feel, or what values could you gain after using the template designed and developed by Professor Pfaff, so we could talk a little bit more about it. But honestly,
can I please have Bảo Trâm to share her screen, the title page, and I take one of the screenshot, because I take for all the candidate, all the presenter, and
just for the photos, right? Just for the picture.
Yeah, just for the photo. Because for her, I actually take the second page, not the title page. So Bảo Trâm, are you still here?
You mean Bích Trâm or Bảo Trâm?
Oh, Bích Trâm, yeah. The third
Yes,
presenter,
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, please wait for me a little. Yeah, okay.
And very, very honestly, all of you made the best impression in your live presentation. We all can recognize that, and we acknowledge all of your effort, time, and everything you have put in to prepare for the grand final. All of you are the best. Thank you so much for being with us in this evening. We appreciate your time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you, Victor. Yeah.
And now Gina can leave to discuss with our two examiners to finalize their scores. And you will come back later with the final decision.
I wonder, should we have the breakout room from here? So that, you know, instead of we go to another channel. So just make sure that everyone now assign manually. Okay, right. All right. Yeah, so Bình and Vũ. Okay, so yeah. Right. All right, Bình and Vũ, please join the breakout room. All right. I see everyone later.
Okay, we will see you later.
Good luck. Let I see. Have I opened the room?
So hi guys, I'm here with you. We are going to discuss about what do you think about the template developed by Professor Pfaff that you have used to prepare for your beating research competition. If anyone is ready to say something, please raise your hand or just unmute yourself and turn on your camera to say something. Who would like to speak first? Should I just randomly call someone?
Hi.
Yeah, please
Personally,
introduce yourself because it's just friendly discussion about what you have learned and how you could benefit from attending the competition, and why did you know our competition, on which channel, or who has introduced that information to you. Please kindly share with everybody while we are waiting for the two examiners and the country coordinator to work on their on your scores.
Everyone, I'm John, and I'm currently studying psychology as my major for undergrad study. And I would say overall the templates helped me a lot in both brainstorming and taking the idea out, because before I entered the competitions, I knew a little bit about research, but the way to brainstorm and propose a research idea, I still don't have a proper structure to follow. So yeah, the template helped me a lot in structuring all of my ideas, like which parts should I talk about methodology, or which part should I, like which factors should I consider when it comes to forming a research idea. At the same time, personally, it helps me, like it reminds me that I have to build a solid foundation for my idea before starting a research project. Because like earlier, of course, I'm going to do some preliminary research before like officially starting any project, but I don't like truly be serious about building a solid foundation for it. So I think it helps me in reminding me that, oh, I need to do that. So yeah, I think it helps me a lot in learning and designing better research idea. Yeah, thank you very much for listening.
And how did you know Vietnam Beating Research Competition? Did you find out the information by yourself, or has anybody introduced it to you?
Actually, my friend introduced it to me, because like I didn't know. Sadly, I didn't know about the competition before, but yeah, my friends recommended.
So who's your supervisor to help you during the period of time when you were preparing for the pitching research competition, or did you work out by yourself?
I actually do it by myself, because like when I got to know about the competitions, and when when the deadline like approach, I don't have a lot of time to look for a supervisor, so I just basically work on the project because yeah, and especially it's summer, so it's pretty hard to approach maybe a professor to help during the time. Yeah.
So are you considering research as your long-term career, or it's just, I mean, the requirement at I mean, it's just the requirement in your program that you need to do just to graduate and just to get a degree?
Oh, it's actually my long-term aspirations doing research, but I'm still on my way to look for the niche that I want to work in depth in my graduate studies.
Okay, so are you considering continuing working on your research topic that you did in the Beijing research competition to make it, I mean, grow bigger and become better and complete until you can submit to any journal? Are you considering that?
Yeah, I'm actually doing it right now already. Yesterday I met up with one of my professors and talked about that. But I think that I want to like improve the idea and the design more, to have like more effective results. But yeah, I'm on my way of like realizing it.
Okay, thank you. We will talk to you soon. And who want to say something about the research template that you have used and would love to share with other people? Who would love to speak next, please?
I would like to speak next, if that's okay.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So I will lower my hand. So I think that the template was pretty useful. Like what the section, the motivation section was the one that helped me a lot, because that was the part that when I have to do a little bit of self-investigation on like why I want to do the topic, and does it have any significance to me personally, which really, so it based from like my own personal experience that stem for the research topic. And I think that for the template, it will be very useful for me when I apply for like grad school and doing like a PhD and master thesis or dissertation, because that is a very structured guideline to follow from. I think that like when we go to grad school and our supervisor may not have the time and enough guidance to show us like the detailed template, I think this template will be very useful for me to use like throughout my research career. Yeah.
And which part is the most difficult one in the template that took you a lot of time to think of your answer? Or what is the most confusing part in the template? Honestly, it's never easy. Honestly, it's really difficult if you try to make your make your answer very outstanding in every single section. It's a challenge.
Yeah. I think all the sections are difficult equally, but like again, I think it's the motivation and the idea are the key. I think for me personally, it's like the key parts, like the key parts of that's like the main course of the template. It's really I have to do a lot of like self retrospection, as well as do lots of like literature search on Google Scholar and other sites to find out like, okay, so that's what I want to learn from myself and for the people around me. Then what is out there, or what have people already done in my field, and what can I do differently, or what can I contribute to this literature that no one else had done before. I think, yeah, so it's the novelty of the novelty of the proposal is the like require lots of, like in Vietnamese we say lots of gray matter. Yeah.
Did you receive any support from any of your supervisors while you were preparing for the pitching competition, or did you work out by yourself?
I did it all by myself.
Wow, fantastic.
I didn't have like anyone who helped me, so all of that was just using all my past research experience working with different professors to formulate my study. I think all of my professor they teach me a lot on how to conduct a research, but still, I mean, it's there's still some flaws that I think that I can improve on. Yeah.
So what is your plan for your next step? What are you going to do with the research topic that you have done when you attending the pitching competition? So what is your next step for that?
I think I could so for my upcoming master program in the UK, I think I can use this template to submit for my master's thesis, and maybe and once I got the result, I can expand the study much deeper for my PhD dissertation. And yeah, so I think that's the plan. Yeah.
Are you considering academic research as your long-term career?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And we hope that you will share the template developed by Professor Phap with all of your students in the future. Honestly, the more you read about the instructions written by Professor Phap in about 26 pages, the more it reflects how real academic research is like.
Yeah.
Honestly, me myself, from the very first time when I was reading it, it was very confusing. But the more and the often you read his instructions, the more you teach yourself, and the more you can see that it's the strict requirement for your good work. It is not that he's asking you to do a lot of work, but to get it done perfectly, you need to meet his requirements.
Yeah. And I think like the trainings that you guys provided before the competition was like very helpful. It really helped me to like I mean, like I can write like the whole template within like half a day or something, but then when I attend the training, like that was the time that I know that I have to revise the whole thing.
It was not as easy as you thought. Correct.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
and we are glad that you could recognize our continuous support during the competition is helpful to a certain extent, and we are trying to do it better every year, and we hope that maybe in the future you can become our volunteer to contribute your time, your idea, your work, or whatever you could contribute to make our nonprofit organization grow bigger, and we can have more people get more benefit from the knowledge that we share with them. Because honestly, academic research is not easy to get it done perfectly without the team support, not just any individual.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing what you have experienced with us, and we hope that it's a good memory for you anytime when you are looking back.
And a learning experience.
Thank you, and please keep in touch with us, and please continuously support us.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, and who wants to speak next, please? while we are still waiting for our 2 examiners to work on your grades.
May I speak?
Sure, please.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let me first introduce a bit about myself. So my name is Hui. I am a final year PhD student in Taylor in Malaysia. So firstly, I came across of the knowledge building, knowledge bridge network. Like since the beginning, I have attended every workshop that chị Lộc do on how to read literatures. And I am also attending the last year competition as well, but I didn't enter. To be honest, I think that the competition, the template is very nice. Firstly, it's well presented in one paper, so you can easy to carry and fill in. Secondly, also, I think it's if you might have some different research idea at the same time. So if you just fill in, so it makes your research idea become more realistic and more feasible, and it's also easy to communicate with your collaborator, like your supervisor or your friend or anyone who can help you to make it become more visible.
So how did you know about the competition? Did you find out by yourself, or did anyone introduce it to you?
Actually, I know about the knowledge bridge network even much before the competition. So at the beginning of my PhD, I have a lot of struggle about how to read, how to write, how to do the research method, and I somehow came across the knowledge bridge network on Facebook. I was joining on the very first seminar. I listened to everything, hear your story, and hear your passion about sharing knowledge to all the Vietnamese students and people all around the world. So it's very inspiring, and even that chị Đức and chị Lộc and chị Bình doing so many work, like working full time and another working full time with this activity. So it's very inspiring to me.
Yeah, we are very happy that you have been with us for a while, but we have more than 13,000 members and we couldn't recognize who is who. And I recognize that this is the best chance for me to talk to you in person on Zoom, although we are in 2 different countries. But as long as we trust each other and we support each other continuously, we can all together create better values. And we hope that in the future, you can consider becoming one of the volunteers to to a certain extent that we could do more things together and we could share more knowledge with other people. And we are happy that you have decided to spend your time and preparing your template, attending the competition, and you are one of very good candidates that we have this year. And thank you so much.
May I share a bit about one of my challenge when viewing this template?
Yes, please. That's the most exciting part that we would love to hear from you.
For me,
yeah, what is the most difficult part of the template that you had struggled?
I mean, some of the research ideas is very complex and complicated. Involve a lot of definition, a lot of term and framework. So it's quite hard to fit in this complicated term and framework and method into one template, with the limited amount of words that Professor Fab had provided. But somehow I managed to cut down a bit of idea and fit into the template. So I think it's quite nice. Nice version.
Yeah, I agree with you that the smaller amount of words that you have to present your work and your idea, the more difficult it is, because it's a lot easier to write in 5 or 10,000 words, but it's very difficult to write in only 200 words. But it has to contain the same amount of knowledge and information as presented in 5 or 10,000 words. Honestly, that is what I had experienced last year when I had some of my students to edit their work before they submit to the competition. And honestly, we spent 24 hours just to cut what we have done. and to make sure that the meaning and the value remain the same. That's really difficult. I really understand your challenge, and I could have your feelings too. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for your time. Who wants to speak next, please? While we are still waiting for your scores. Who want to speak next, please?
I would like to share about my journey with my teammates. Yeah.
Please, yeah. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, it was actually a very sudden decision for my team to come up with this idea. Actually, we have changed the proposal, the topic, for maybe I guess 5 times before we have the final idea. Yeah, and the final idea here is was finalized at the very last minute. Yeah, so it was a really challenging experience. However, with a very easy template for us to follow, it was not really that hard to change the ideas continuously like that. So thank you very much for the competition and the opportunity for us to get to know such a very wonderful template to make our research journey much more easier. Yeah.
So are you a student or are you an instructor?
Actually, I am a student, a university student. At my 4th year. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you consider teaching as your career?
Yeah. Of course, all of us in the team are teachers of English.
Oh, excellent. So maybe in the future, when you complete your graduate level, either at a master or PhD level, you can share the template developed by Professor Fab with all of your students and all of your colleagues that you have a chance to work with, because honestly, it helps people a lot in the way they brainstorm their idea and the way they present the information in a very logical way.
Wow. Yeah. Of course, it was a really effective solution for all the beginners like us.
Yeah. And what is the biggest lesson that you have learned from the time you decided to attend the competition until now? Although we are still waiting for your scores, it's still a secret. I don't know.
Sorry, are you asking about my expectation? Right?
No, your experience or the biggest lessons that you have learned from this journey.
Yeah, I think that is very necessary for us to plan everything beforehand, plan everything really carefully beforehand. For example, to come up with the best key levers for our proposal, we need to identify which variables are the most influential in our research, and we need to go through a lot of materials. So we have to plan to make things much more logical, and the journey is may become less challenging thanks to that.
And how much did your supervisor help you? How much did your supervisor help you?
Honestly, he was a very hard, he's actually, we have to change a lot of ideas because of him. He thinks that our ideas is interesting, but it's not possible to implement because we are students, and it's very difficult for us to enter a public high school in Vietnam and ask for our opportunity to implement our proposal, our research. So the idea has to be considered from different perspectives, like from our teachers, student teachers, and also from the perspectives of the principals from the high school as well. Yeah, so for example, at first we have thought about the idea of implement ChatGPT to enhance students' language learning experience. However, you know that ChatGPT has many drawbacks, and it's hard for high school students to resist the temptation to exploit it in a bad way. Yeah, so we have to change that idea multiple times before we come to this the integration of social media and TVLT. Yes.
And what is your next plan for your research topic that you have done in your competition? So what are you going to do next?
Yeah, actually, we are going to start our research in this October. We are going to use this research, like we are going to give more details to it, develop it into a very detailed plan and implement it at a high school in Mỹ Tho, yeah, Đình Giang province. Yeah.
So are you considering writing a manuscript based on what you have already developed in your template?
Yeah, I actually do want that. Yeah, so maybe 1 year later, we will finish the manuscript to send it to a conference or a journal.
Excellent, excellent. And we would love to hear from you when you achieve higher results in the future after you learn more and you gain more. We would love to be connected with you and we would love to be with you if you need any support.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And the last question, how did you know about the competition? How did you know about Knowledge Bridge?
Actually, our supervisor, Mr. Lê Nguyễn Như Anh, he has inspired and introduced us to the competition.
Because we would like to say thank you to him, and can you please invite him to be in the Zoom with us when they when they announce your scores?
Yeah, actually, it is at midnight in Australia now, and
he's
I guess
in Australia.
He has just left out of the room. Yeah, he is in Australia.
Oh, so he was listening to your presentation, am I right?
Yes, of course.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah. So he could give you motivation and also at the same time make you scared. So you could try harder.
Yeah.
What do you think about what do you think about the live presentation without any announcement in advance for you to get ready? Because, you know, we could randomly pick anyone.
Yeah, I was really nervous at the time. And I have to pay special attention to your announcement. Every time you say something, I need to listen carefully and make sure that I don't leave out anything.
Yeah, I think that's a special moment that you would remember forever. You might forget about other things, but the feeling that will be with you every time you think of it. Thank you so much. We might talk to maybe 1 or 2 more people, and we are still waiting for your final scores because they want to make a very fair decision on everything you guys have done. Because
we are here already.
Oh, you are here already. Thank you. And it's now your stage. We had a fantastic discussion with maybe 5 teams, and they talk a lot about their journey, how much they have learned about the template and how great we are. And it's now your time and your stage. I will be listening to you.
Oh, so Vũ, you want to start? Or am I starting?
Lady first.
Lady first? That's not quite privileged this time. Okay. Let me share the screen.
I'm so nervous too because all of them are excellent.
Okay, guys. Well done, and we like to commend you on a job well done for something that is so surprising and unexpected. And we can see there's quite a bit of nerves through some of the presenters. So in terms of commenting and giving very general feedback on how you're doing today, and in fact, this framework I just came out of me when I was listening to you, and it seems to be you know, fitting that there's 5 C's you need to think of while you're doing presentation like this, especially in academic context, scholarly context. So firstly, because this is a pitch, right, following a pitching template. So the content is important. And as examiner, we look through, you know, things like motivation, contribution, Now, a couple comments there, that when you go through, it's very good to have a very brief agenda saying what are the areas you're going to focus on. So for example, when you stop at what's new, people are not surprised because they know up staff that you're not going to go on other consideration or even contributions, right? So having a sort of agenda introduction is very important. You also need the content needs to be clear, right? For example, the models, the methods, we need to see the information in the slide. And more importantly, in terms of clarity. Now, clarity also overlaps with content, right? But a lot of time it's about your tone, is your pace. Some of you are because you're nervous, you speak really fast. And when you're nervous, the examiner and the audience feel nervous as well. And when you feel nervous, you can't really, get as much information as you would have wished. And of course, when you are the presenter, then you wouldn't pass the message through to the audience as effectively. The tones up and down is important. So try to reduce and avoid monotone. And the monotone will come almost automatically if you're actually going to read from your notes. So in the future, if you, there's some of you have done it today. So in the future, I know that it's very important to practice, but at the same time, you shouldn't write notes as in paragraphs. You should write notes as in terms of bullet points. So it means that when you present, you make sure that you still have flexibility and differences in words and terms you use, and it feels live. It doesn't feel rehearsed. It doesn't feel you are reading to us, right? Let's move to creativity, and this is mostly just through your slides design, the design quality overall. Now, with the entrance of Canva, it's so much easier now to have a lot of graphics, and understand that. However, in a scholar and academic context, an overuse of graphics is not recommended because it's really distract the audience and the examiner from the key content of you. You want, if you're going to use graphic, use one only, one maximum two, but I recommend one graphic only on one slide. It means one chart, one picture, whatever it is, one table per slide. The consistency of style and fonts across the slides is very important. I think there's one or two that didn't have that consistency. The polishment. So the level of how polished your presentation is things like when you use Canva presentation, some of you actually forgot to delete the footnote or the trademark of the pictures. That just show that you haven't really put the final proofreading to your slides, to your presentation. And then let's go to capture. Capture is audience capture, to which extent that you capture the audience, to which extent that you engage with the audience. This is to do with things like, body language. And I know that, presenting through Zoom is almost impossible. And yet there's at least a couple of you actually was looking at the camera. Like I'm looking at the camera right now because it means that you are looking at me and you're not looking at your notes. It's very important. Some of you using hand gesture, it's important. I can't see your whole body, but seeing your hand, and some of you actually do take, actions to have a different hands gesture from just, moving your hands around almost, with no meaning at all. So that's quite useful. Let's move. And then in terms of, I need to add a bit more about the clarity, okay? Please avoid being too wordy in your presentations. Some of you, your slides are full of words. Let's try to avoid that. I know as academic, we try to speak too much. We're going to give an overload information, but if you want to capture the audience, that's not quite recommended. And then finally, in terms of control, what it is, control your time. A lot of you get marks deducted because you go over time. Yeah, and if it's the well of time, it means you don't comply with the rules, but more importantly, it means you get cut short and you don't complete and the information that you want to send the audience. So overall, I'm not sure that somebody has come up with this, but if you think that you want to take something away for the future in terms of your presentation, remember content, clarity, creativity, capture and control, 5 C's. And but overall, we are pretty happy. In fact, pleasantly surprised the quality of your presentation, provided that they are unexpected compared to, and as Locke has said repeatedly, the quality is much higher than what we've seen with the videos. So way to go, and I can see that some of the project are highly potential. So I will leave that to Vu to comment on the content of the written pages.
Thank you, Dr. Ben-Bun. So I just have few words with you. The first thing that I want to say, the good job, folks. But we, all of the examiners, organizers, really enjoy reading and listening to your works, your presentations, and your pitches. Apart from the good things, I just add some of my comment on the negative things. Or maybe if you're familiar with my face on KBN, you see that I'm always the person who deliver negative things. Sorry for that, but that is part of my jobs. So you can learn from that and you can avoid that. So the first thing is that this is I have to repeat again and this again, this is a competition, and on the competition we have the rule or regulations that you have to I want to emphasize, you have to follow. So at the first hour with Professor Robert Fabb, listen to him and he say that 1,000 word plus minus 20%, it means that 800 to 1,200. And if you accept that numbers or lower than that number, no matter your pitch is the best in the world or the best in the planet, you will not get you won't get high score because you always break through. So just example, you enter kind of football game, everybody enter the field with 11 people, right? And your team have 12 people, you cannot compete with them. They won't allow you to start the game. But we are the examiners, so we try to be nice with you. So we just minus some point, but actually that we should not let your pitch enter the evaluation. But we try to be nice with you, so we minus some point because of if you accept the word or if you did not follow the regulations. The second common problem that many people have to face with, that is the research question. Remember that research question, not research questions. Most of you have 2 research questions, so that is break. That means that you break the rule. So if you read the template, research question without S, and I can see that many of you have 2, and even that some people that not in the final have 4 research questions. So for one study, you should not have more than 1 research question, because 1 research question could be 1 study. Okay, and the next things is something that you want to highlight your novelties. So everybody wants to create something new to contribute to the knowledge. But you remember that Professor Robert Fabb also said that if you conduct a study in Vietnam, it's not your novelty. Your novelty is that how the study in Vietnam could contribute or could make some kind of make something that some people can recognize or can benefit from that. It's not because that is your home country or not because that is something else, but it should be academic sounds of the study. And many of you also use the word first study. Yeah, I have to emphasize again that first study did not guarantee a novelty of your work. So you have to figure out the novelty of your work based on their academic contribution. So not because of that the first one, not because of that is conducted in Vietnam and nobody had done before. Nobody had done before, but somebody can easily explain that or predict that, so that will void your research and your times. And I just want to say some word about your pitching, your written pitch, and I just want to add one more comment on your oral presentation, that we are on an academic competition, so you should use kind of academic template for your presentation. Do not use kind of the teen pictures or teen template. I saw a couple of you have used kind of very artistic template, but it not suitable for academic presentation. So yeah, that's my last comment. And thank you so much for your times and your interest in this competition. And I hope that we will have chance to work with you in the global grounds of this competition. And good luck to all of you. Thank you.
Chị Đức, will you announce their scores and the prizes? Will you?
Can you help me? So we may make kind of a game a little bit, right, for everyone to have a guess. Yeah. So I think I need someone help. Vũ, you want to do? Because if I'm sharing screen, I would not be able to.
I see. I believe Miss Locke is better than me.
Bình want to do it?
Because I'm using my phone now, as I told you, my laptop.
No, you just talk. I'm sharing screen, but you talk. So.
Oh, what should I talk about? We have talked a lot about their journey with us, about how much they have learned from the template.
Okay, all right. So I do my best. All right. Okay. So, all right, everyone. This is the final moment. Yes. Okay. So let me show you a video. Right. I will stop.
Can I say something that Locke keeps saying that we're going to announce the score. We don't have a score. We're not going to publicize the score, but we'll publicize the winners. Okay. So we're not going to give you a quantitative score.
Yeah. All right. So
1 second, please. Is it okay if all the participants, I mean those who are still with us now, can turn on the camera? Do you want them to do that, or do you still want them to turn off the camera? You decide.
I mean, you know, it's ideally, but because I'm sharing screen, so I would not be able to cut any
understand.
picture.
Okay, for security.
Right, so maybe Bình or Vũ have to do it for me. Yeah. Okay. Right. So are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone. So please, turn on your camera. Feel free to turn on your microphone. I think it's late. We don't have to worry. Anyone will jump into the Zoom and
yeah, turn on your camera, please.
Yeah. All right. And give a round of applause to everyone who are still here today. Well done, everyone. We did great job, including the judges and the organizer. All right.
Whatever the result, you have done your best, and we are impressed. I think you represent Vietnam well. And not only that, make sure that in the next 3 weeks, if you're going to polish your current pitch or work on another pitch, you still have time to go for the global round. You still have another second opportunity to make Vietnam proud. Yeah. You still have 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks is enough to write a manuscript, okay? You can write 2,000 words in 3 weeks. Well, 1,000 words, in fact. So yeah, you need to know that the reason Robert came today and stay until the time that he never actually ever stayed up is because we want to encourage you all to participate in the other countries round of the global pitching research competition. Okay, so give it a try, because compared to last year, Robert and his panel does give different evaluation from what you will normally get from our Vietnamese panel. Okay, do give yourself another try. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, we are all watching the video.
Okay, so we have 2 finalists and this round. Okay, I hope that you can have a good guess. Okay, our first panelist comes to, okay, the team by Nguyễn Thị Thu Yến, Đinh Thị Phương Thảo, and Nguyễn Nhật Quang for the research on employee data protection, rights to disconnect and privacy in AI context. A very important topic in the contemporary era of a lot of cheating, obviously. Okay, we can move on to the second finalist. And who would that be? Congratulations, Đặng Bảo Ngọc, for your very good presentation. Slightly over time, however, very good written piece, and that is on determinants of intention to use artificial intelligence in healthcare among nursing students. Still another AI, but this is among the university sector. And as a lecturer and professor myself, I constantly have to warn my students against that, and yet it still happens. So your research will have important relevance. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we have 2, I think, highly commended prizes. Highly commended prizes, you can, it's sort of kind of equivalent to giải khuyến khích or higher than giải khuyến khích, but it's not really what we call in sort of in English context. It's called highly commended. And that goes to the first one, will go to Nguyễn Hoàng Bảo Trân and Lâm Thị Huyền Đông for a moral management and employees withdrawal behavior, the role of psychological contract breach. I really enjoy this topic personally when I read your written piece. A moral management. Why would a management become immoral? So also a very interesting topic. Thank you very much and congratulations. The second highly commended project prize, sorry, comes to Bùi Quốc Huy with his very exciting research on analyzing the long-range correlation in blockchain market on DFI approach. So as I understand that Bùi Quốc Huy is doing his PhD, right? So we wish you all the best. It looks very valid and very robust model, and a very good written piece as well. Congratulations. Now we are now going to the prizes. In the third place, it is Nguyễn Thu Hằng with her research on factors influencing farmers' adoption of climate-smart agricultural practices in Vietnam. Well done, Thu Hằng. Okay, not much now. Stop. Okay. We basically have the queen and sort of the combucal, what is the word? Only 2 places left. And I'm sure those 2 are very nervous right now. Okay. Without further ado, I announce the second, or we call the silver prize, right? Comes to the group by Minh Diệu, Mỹ Duy, Phương Lan, Bikram, and Quốc Trung on the integration of social media in the task-based language teaching to enhance language students' speaking skills. Well done, and for your written piece, and well done for your oral piece as well. That's a very, very good written piece. In fact, got a really good score from Robert Pfaff himself. So we now come to the winner. First place or the gold prize goes to, who's that? Chen Kwan, right, with her research on ease competitiveness, the culprit, mechanisms behind the youth Facebook use and emotional well-being, a very topical issue. And I'm sure that once you conduct this research and publish it, it will have a lot of relevance for both practice and also literature. And I personally really interested in knowing these results because I will try to apply that to my children. And I'm sure that we all have young children here. We are all worried about their Facebook use. No, not worried. In fact, we are using Facebook as well. We should learn about that. So our heartfelt congratulations to Kwan for a very great achievement. She will now present Vietnam to become the semi-finalist in the global round. Let's go all have a sort of round of applause for Kwan. Well done. That's amazing. It's very deserving, and you got really high scores across the board and very good presentation as well. Well, is that the end?
Have we finished?
I think we finished. That's all the prizes. Do we need more? No.
Let's see. Have we finished?
Wow, stop. Now we have to say that not the original plan, okay? Not quite the original plan. However, this, as we listen to your presentation, we think that of all your efforts, and because we are very pleasantly surprised by the quality and the difference in quality between your recorded video and your live presentation today, we decided that we will give a best oral pitch. Okay, can I just have in the chat who gets the best oral pitch today? Come on, don't vote for yourself, okay? Let's try to be a bit objective. We all are students or lecturers here.
I stop share for a second. So
yeah.
Stream, we see everyone. All right. Can everyone turn on your camera?
If you don't remember the person's name, it's okay. Talk, maybe mention the topic.
Yeah.
Any taker?
Or maybe just say, the first, the first, the last, the third speaker. Yeah. Anything you remember. Actually,
okay, maybe they can unmute themselves and give us one name that they
impressed.
Think. Yeah, they can.
For example, Hui, you can give us one name, Hui. Just a guess, just a guess.
Not your name.
Which presentation gave you the best impression?
Sorry, I don't remember the name, but I think the LGBTQ plus also quite interesting. I like that presentation and the format. So I think that one is the one who win the best oral. Is it? You make us so nervous.
We gotta have a diversity of views here.
How about Thu Hằng? What do you think? What presentation gave you the best impression?
I think the first one from Chen Kwan. She has a very good, very clear of the topic. Yes.
Okay, how about Thu Hằng? Give me your opinion, please. What is your guess? Or what presentation gave you the best impression? Please give us one name. Thu Hằng, please.
So I think the presentation from Hoàng Lê Minh Dũng will be the best one. I enjoy his the most.
Oh, thank you for your opinion. We can ask maybe two more people before we release the final result. We can ask, let's see. How about Hổ Thắng? Are you here? Hổ Thắng, are you here?
Mr. Thanh Tùng Trần.
Yeah. Which presentation do you like the most?
In my opinion, I like Trần Quân. It's the most.
Thank you.
Her name is Bảo Trân, Quang Ngọc Bảo Trân. Is that correct? because many people confused with your name, but I believe that your name, your full name is Wang Ngọc Bảo Trân. Am I correct?
Thank you for the correction. It's actually Nguyễn Ngọc Hương Trân.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Wow,
the
it's what a beautiful name.
So when
Oh,
Marina read
oh
the
my
name,
goodness, sorry. We all say out your name incorrectly.
It's all fine.
Oh
Like,
my
it's always
goodness.
like that.
Yeah, please accept our apology for that. Because
worries
All
about
thought
it.
that we are expecting
Management
a man or boy to present,
Yeah.
and you turn out as like, that's, well, like my name, people think that it's a boy's name as well. So I actually thought that your name is Guan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My name
that's
is
beautiful
too.
name.
My name is the boy name too. So no one will expect that I'm the lady. All right.
so maybe we can ask one more person, Dương Thị Bích Trâm. Is it correct?
Yes, that's my name.
So what do you think? Please give us your answer. What do you think?
Just like everyone else, I'm really impressed by Hoàng Lê Minh Dũng presentations. Yeah, I guess he should better get that prize.
I think we should change our score now. It's called be influenced by the audience.
No, people vote. Okay, everyone. And here
Now,
is
stop that. I
Yeah.
think the one who get this or the best oral pitch might be not the one who may capture the attention the most, right? However, it was very professional, kept to the time, just right on time, was very clear in every single detail, and the content was just the right amount and on point. So just like what we would expect of an academic presentation. Okay, there's no like funny animation, funny graphics, very professional. And therefore, the best oral pitch goes to yes, as some of you have guessed, that goes to Hoàng Lê Minh Dũng for his exciting and very professional presentation on beyond image fixation, the roles of adverse childhood experiences. And I can also reveal to you that this is the only case where I and Vu agree on a single score. So all our scores, some of the others do diverge, but on your one was very high score. It's 90 out of 100 for both of us. And we didn't talk to each other. So this is quite independent marking. So that's the only score I'm going to reveal for today. And well done. We're very impressed with your presentation. Well done. And can I also say that not just to you, but also others, if you have followed strictly the rules in the written pitch, you might have a better result. So that's something for you and others to take on board when you, in the next 3 weeks or the next year, do follow the rules, especially the word count, very, very carefully. Okay, otherwise you waste all your time and you'll be penalized very heavily. Okay, yeah. You might be even disqualified.
Can I add something about the rules? So what happened is when we allow for 1,000 words, we allow for like plus and minus 20%, which is the maximum you can have is 1,200 words. So in this round, actually the judges have to discuss many times because we see that there are few good entries, good submission, but you are over 1,200 words. And in particular, there is a case that you up to like 1,700 words. I don't say who, but you know who you are. Right, normally we should just drop that, entry submission, right? Because, you can't be over like 70% of the allowance, right? So now if you consider to submit into IGPRC, can you please make sure that you follow strictly, not less than 1,200, but not more. So ideally, I think would be around like 1,190 words. that is the best because you utilize the number of words. Right. Now, the second things that I would like to emphasize is about tools. Item. What's item number, Vũ? I forgot. Is it I? Vũ is muted. You muted, Vũ.
It is G.
G, all right, okay. So
Yeah.
for tunes, right, in the old, I mean, last year, it was between 100 to 150 last year, right? But this year, actually, Professor Robert Fab allow for between 100 to 200 works. And then you will ask yourself, why there is such a big gap, you know, between 100 to 200 words? Is that a mistake? But it is not. Right. So what happened is because we allow for qualitative and quantitative research methods. Right. So therefore, there is actually allow between 100 to 200 works, right? So the organizer and the judges have already considered that rules, right? That revised rules when marking your pitch, right? I would recommend, you know, you would pay attention to what we call is components, work limits, work counts for every single component. So you would like to say something about this diagram?
No, I think that just to have that recognize that maybe there's some problem that is just kind of anonymous statistic that I collect one of the two for the top A. I mean that I have a higher point, but there's some problem. Yeah, I tried to expand the picture, but there's a problem here. So you can see that I have two lines, a lower line and upper line. So your number of words should be in between the two lines. There's two inconsistencies I raised your hand during Robert Fab talking, but he had no time for Q&A. The first thing is about the working titles. All of the document I found is from 10 to 12 words, but actually in his presentation, he said I should around 12 to 15. So that is the first inconsistencies. But unfortunately, I don't have time to ask him for that. And the second thing that Dr. Duc just also mentioned about the tool, some of the document that you found on the pitching research is about 100 to 150. But when you actually write the pitch, you can see from 100 to 200. But anyway, you have to follow the how to say the word budget that provide in the online platform. And here this graph show kind of statistic. So most of you can see that half of the top 8 have a more or less than the requirement in the working titles. Most of them work well on the research question. Only one is too long and only one too short, but the rest is follow the rule very well. In this picture, I think that because I try to expand the graph and the lines is no longer correct, but that should be 150. That's one. 150. And that's 200. So you can see that at least 3 of you said 200. So that's not unacceptable. And that one should be 100 to 150. And again, 3, no, that 4 because that's a little bit higher. So half of the participant reach that level. And the same with the data. Yeah, and lit 3 is more than that, but one person is less than that. You write less doesn't mean that you follow the rule, but it's mean that the church will think that you don't know to write. So that is the problem. And of course, if you write too much, so they easily say that, okay, I don't need to read because that is more than the limited. And yeah, the tool also, even that recently, Robert Fab just increased the numbers of work allowance, but Elite 2 abuse is have more than 200. Yeah. And yeah, that's the last one. Does it make me correct? That is all of the things from the last 4 things is from 50 to 100. And you can see that some abuse use more than word, and only a few, maybe 1 cases use less. So yeah, as I said many times, just follow the rules. Before you write the good or excellent pitch, you must write the correct pitch. I mean that the correct, I mean that you follow the rules and you follow all of the requirement, follow all of the maximum words, because sometimes you follow the word budget in each section, but the total word can be more than 1,200. So to be careful, check and count the word, because I suggest that you write your pitch in a Microsoft Word software, so it can help you to count the word. And you can write 1 page, 1 section. And so if you just try to select all of that section, and you can see that how many words you have and how many words you have in total, and how many words you have in that section. So that helps you a lot. So that is just one of my comments for your next global routes.
All right, now we give it back to MC Lộc Nguyễn.
I think it's time for the people in the 3 first prizes to say something, or Hoàng Dũng, who won the biggest prizes for the oral presentation, share something. John, what would you want to say with us now? I hope that I pronounced your name correctly now. Your name is John, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about your prize?
First of all, thank you so much for the prize. It's actually a huge surprise for me, because personally, I don't feel like I give a good presentation today. So it's really unexpected for me, but yeah, thank you so much. And I would say that I learned a lot throughout the journey, especially in summer while writing the proposal. The competition gave me the motivation to work continuously on research and on improving my academic knowledge. Without it, I think I would just like read a lot of papers, make some notes, and that's all. Like, I don't have the structure of what I have learned or what I should improve more. So yeah, the competition has helped me a lot in my educational journey, and yeah, it motivates me a lot to make this a real project, not just a research proposal. And yes, thank you so much for the prize once again.
Can I have a suggestion? The video of sharing the experience, can we highlight them and then make us, you can cut videos later of their sharing?
Yes.
No, just you are sharing right now, but we need to spotlight you, right? You do? How the recording?
Sorry.
Yeah, like that. Then, you know, in the future we can just cut your separate videos instead of all the others.
Sorry, what am I
How about
supposed
Minh
to
Dũng? How about Minh Dũng? How long have you prepared for your presentation before attending our live grand final? And honestly, your prize was not in our plan, but due to your most impressive presentation, both the two examiners and the country coordinator reconsider what we had planned for on the prizes that we had prepared ahead. So what would you say?
To be honest, I would love to. I would like to show my deepest gratitude to all the judges for your time reading my pitch and also considering my presentation in today's competition. Actually, I found out about the competition via a Facebook group, a research Facebook group. Like it was, as I remember, a week before the deadline. So so I didn't have lots of preparation, and so when the judges have like all the online trainings, I try to attend and ask as much as question as I could in order to like refine my pitch. I think like I think beyond this competition, it really helped me to again redefine and hone my career path to be in the academia. At first, when I start my career journey, I thought that I only want to do counseling, mental health counseling to clients, but as I was doing counseling, I found the significance of research, and I start to gain more research experience. And I think that for your consideration of my place today, it helped me to it's motivate me to continue this path like you guys, and hope that I will succeed and do more research that are relevant to the Vietnamese context, that help to elevate the Vietnamese society more and more healthier psychologically. Yeah, thank you so much for all of your consideration. Thank you.
And how long did you practice to have your very good presentation? Just for your presentation, how long did you practice? How long did it take you to practice?
I like since the day I received the email, I have to do it like every day, and then I also have to like record myself, and then I have to listen to my horrible voice just to make sure that my voice and my pitch sound pleasant to the listeners. I also have to let my wife listen to it, so that they can help me to like refine all the flaws and how can I improve and all that. So I think it's a for the place that I'm having today, I think it's a team effort from you guys, from all of my professor in the past and in the present, my education, and also to my families and friends who helped me to be here today. Yeah.
Yeah, when you were talking about on of your dedication before preparing for the life grand final, we all say that you deserve it due to all of your creative time and effort, and it is the best gift for your partner too and for your family. Thank you for being with us in the evening.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think we would love to talk to the second prize, right? And because it's a big team, so can we have any representative from the team of Vương Thị Minh Diệu and her team members? Can any of you represent your team to say something to us, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Please
Honestly,
introduce
I'm
yourself. Oh, okay.
okay. My name is Bích Trâm, and our team comes from Ho Chi Minh University of Education. We are all future teacher of English, and we feel very honored to be a part of this competition because during this journey we have learned a lot. Because we just begin our research journey recently, and thanks to the competition, we have found a way to make our research much more much easier. Yeah. So I have attended a lot of workshops hosted by Ms. Đức Phan and spoken by Mr. Vũ Bạch and Boy. I'm really admire you, and I feel so grateful to be in this competition and learn a lot from all the greatest speakers.
Okay.
How about Thu Hằng? Would you want to say something with us?
Actually, I'm very fortunate to get to know the knowledge brief and founded by Dr. Đức Phan, not only about this pitching research, but many workshops. I know that you have put a lot of time and effort. We are very grateful, I think, because like you said, we stand on the giant and you are all the giant. Thank you very much. It helped us to when we do the research, it's very, sometimes we feel lost, sometimes we feel lack of motivation, and you are the one who give us the motivation and know that what is important of our work. Thank you.
How about Lam Thị Huỳnh Đông? Can you please represent your team to say something to us, because your research is ranked among the grant finalists. It means that you have done a lot better than many other teams.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yes, honestly, me and my team is really nervous when we try to do some presentations, because it's the first time we have the research like this, the pitching like this, so we're really nervous. But luckily that finally we can finish this, and we also have some like highly recommended, so we're really happy about this. And yeah, just about my story.
So any good lessons or any positive experience that you have had when you work with us in this journey?
Yes, because like, you know, I want to mention about the template first, because it's really helpful for myself, because based on this, I know what should I do for my thesis on the future, or the research for the future, and I know how to follow the template to find out some things. And I also know that some like interesting topic like LGBTQ or something really trendy like social media, so I can hear that, I can learn about it, and I know yes, a lot of knowledge. Yeah.
And to what extent did your supervisor, Dr. Nhật Phạm, help you through this journey? Because he's such a good researcher. He has published a lot of amazing work on well-known journals. That's what I have known about him. So to what extent did he help you on this journey to prepare for this competition?
Yes, he helped us a lot. Like when we don't know what should we do for the template, and he recommend us how to write this and what should we put in this. And he also give us some recommendation to have the good pitching, writing pitching. And honestly, before we start the final round today, he have some like encourage a lot, like he say like try your best, just confident with all of your things. So yeah, he really support us, and I'm really grateful about what he advised us. Like yeah.
Yeah, and he must be very happy with your result too, because we have lots of strong candidates in this year, and your team was selected to be in the grand finalists, and that's what you must be very proud of, what you have done, and with what or with all the support that you have received from your supervisor. And from here you can move forward and add more valuable evidence or explanation to your work, and you can resubmit it to the global competition, and we hope to see you in a higher rank, because it's just the first step, and from the first step you can go further. It depends on how much effort you have put into your work. And maybe we will talk to the last person before we end. How about Bùi Quốc Huy? What would you want to say to our examiners and the country coordinator? Because you have done the best job too. Your topic was selected among the the grand finalists. You have done a fantastic job.
I think I would say thank to chị Lộc, chị Bình, chị Đức, and anh Vũ for doing a great job to organize all of this competition, provide us this template to help us to have a stepping stone for us to start our research journey. I also find very grateful myself. This template helped me to understand more about the limitation of my research idea, and it helped me move forward. And thank you for all of the kind work and all of your effort. It is very valuable to all of us.
And Huy, the last thing I want to tell you is, compared to your recorded video, you did a much better live presentation, and you were very honestly energetic today when you were presenting your information to the audience. Maybe we have a lot more people here listening to you, which gave you, bigger pressure.
Yeah, thank you.
But honestly, you did a lot better than what you did in your recording video.
Yeah, I feel that as well. Thank you.
And you should remember that blockchain had won the first prize last year. So your topic is really hard.
Potential.
Yes. Yeah, that's something interesting to work on. So I also move on with some other research idea for application as well. Thank you so much for your comment. I know there are a lot of things I need to improve, but it's just the starting point. Thank you.
Dido, can you tell everybody about their monetary reward, how they will receive their money and the certificates? You can tell them something, so at least they know what they should expect,
So they probably everyone have my yellow. So can you please text me your bank account details, and then I will ask the what we call the treasurer of KBN to transfer to you. I will also send you email with your certificate. So maybe wait for us like next week or so. I couldn't promise, on Monday, but, definitely we send to you when the certificate has been designed. Maybe we give you the form so that make sure that your name is correctly stated, because last, I know that some of you want to have your first name first. All right, so different name order. Yeah. So we will send you an email. Yeah, right. I think that what we call, everyone has done wonderful job, right? KBN is like non-profit organization. We we actually own up our webinar. As you can see, they are all free. So we acknowledge your efforts. We acknowledge your what we call your great achievement, all right? But we do our best in terms of the prize, all right? Yeah.
And also, as you move on with your academic journey, please volunteer to be a speaker and give back to the community. It's very important. If you're a student, encourage your friends and other students to do research. If you're a master or PhD, make sure you share your skills and your learning is very important. And I just want to share something personal. Like I was a bit reluctant because, well, I was involved from the start, but to say the least, you know, you examine so many theses and so many of these pitches that you almost feel impersonal. You don't feel emotional about it at all. And in fact, just listening to your presentations and listening to your reflections sort of brought me to life. And you know, for someone who have been in the academy for what, almost 20 years now, I feel, you know, I feel refreshed. I feel that there's passion. And I mean, I talk about passion all the time, but at the same time, to feel, you know, new blood, you feel that people who used to be there, used to be in your position many years ago, and they're eager to learn. And it reminds you more established researchers that, you know, you should still be passionate. You should still have so much to give back, because, you know, a lot of time, you know, we are so wrapped up in our own world, especially if you're doing PhD, you know this very well. You feel lonely, you feel desolate, you feel, you know, apart from your supervisors, you have nobody. And most of the time, your family have no idea what you're talking about. And these are the people, you know, like, who love you, who listen to you, and are so enthusiastic about the ideas that you share. So I encourage you to continue doing that. When I was doing my PhD, I had this cohort of, you know, 10 PhD students, and we go out, we share ideas. And most of the time, I hate the ideas, but I have to agree with them most of the time that they actually think out of the box and give me the ideas I would never think of if I was just reading in very deep into my literature. So do reach out and do give back. And it's just an amazing experience. It's 1:30 in my time. I never go to bed after 12, but I will just have to say that it's a very rewarding experience for me personally, and I hope you will feel the same, and do find your own way to give back. And as Dung said, that be grateful for anyone who have helped you on this journey in the past, the present, and the future, and do become one of those helpers yourself. That's all.
Yeah, please stay connected, and please talk to your supervisors, instructors who are willing to be our speakers. Please stay connected, and please connect them with us, please. Yeah. John, yeah, what would you want to say, please? Yeah, before we leave, feel free to say whatever you want to say, please.
I actually have one sharing and another questions. So for my sharing that I forgot to mention earlier is that the resources posted on YouTube, like the webinars recorded on YouTube, they were very helpful for me personally, and I would love to share it to my fellow researchers, my friends, and yeah, thank you very much for that. And I have a question. I actually have two. First of all, I want to ask if I can receive like personal feedback on my proposal, somehow just to make it better. And for my second questions, can I keep editing my proposal before submitting it to the next round, or it's through or I have to keep it the same? Yeah.
I think for all the candidates, you allow to change, because, you know, they will have to go to shortlist, what we call, Robert said, rest of the world. But for your case, as the first place winner, your name and your title will be sent. So I already sent email to Professor Robert Fab this evening after we announce, you know, your title and your pitch. So I don't think that you allowed to change, fortunate and unfortunately. But if you are go to the grand finalists, so semi-finalists, like, let me give you example. Last year, semi-finalists, we have about 26 candidates, and then grand finalists, we got 6 candidates. Right. So now it's just a story, or it's just the fact. Okay. So last year, the winner of the VNPRC went to the semi-finalists, and all other candidates, including the prize number 2nd, number 3rd, and number 4 and 5th, they submitted to the rest of the world. And they actually, I think the candidate got 3rd prize actually went further to the grand finalists and won the final IGPRC competition. Right. So Ben, correct me, but I think that, when the name has been sent, I don't know if Quân is allowed to change the beach.
I think our first prize at the national round was Ngọc Diệp last year, and Mike was not our first choice. So he came through the global round and won the whole thing. He was not the country representative.
Yeah, but in this case, Quân is like our first choice.
Yeah. So she'll be like Ngọc Diệp last year, who won the national prize, who was the semi-finalist. So let's just get back to Robert to see whether he will allow you to change. I think he's only fair that you're going to still using the same pitch, but a revised pitch, because everyone else now got 3 more weeks to submit. It's only fair that you also have that time to do. But again, we can't promise that. We're going to need to check with Robert. But everyone else, I think you can re-polish your pitch and send, or get a new pitch and send a new pitch. It's up to you in the remaining 3 weeks. Yes.
I remember, no, let me make clear. I remember Sứ Ngọc Diệp group last year. She also asked to change. But, unfortunately, I remember, because that was the conversation I had with Robert. So Robert said, no, if you went into the competition as a semi-finalist. Yes, if you want to go back, like decline that what we call decline that offer, that spot, and you go from the beginning through like rest of the world. Because last year also, Sứ Ngọc Diệp, I know it, right? So that's what Robert was clear. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So it's your choice.
You want to compete with the rest of the world, or keep your pitch and represent Vietnam?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just want to check if I understand you right. So for my proposal, I couldn't change it anymore because like now I have the opportunity to enter the semi-final round.
Yeah.
So that's for the written proposal. How about the presentation?
That's only if you become the grand finalist.
Okay. So the presentation, I only need to conduct a presentation when I can get into the final round
and grand finalist. So from 26 to 6. Last year it was from 26 to 6. So only 6 candidates, like we are now having 8, right, present in the grand final of IGPRC. And actually you have 10 minutes, not 5 minutes, right, to present in the grand final IGPRC. Yeah.
But don't worry, if you get in there, we give you a lot of training. We do. We put a lot of resources.
I want to make sure that I understand it right. So like until then, I couldn't edit my written proposal anymore. No. But if I can ever get into the final round, I can still change my presentation, maybe the slides and how I present things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very
so
much.
You cannot change your written pitch, but you can change your presentation. And actually there are quite a lot of training. You actually got like 1 month to prepare for your presentation, and then to create a video for your presentation. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So and just like overall, can I, like after the competition, because I believe you have like looked over my proposal, just in general, could I ask for feedback or advice on how to improve it and like make it a project.
Yeah,
like, can I
you
ask
can
for
do
your
that.
personal advice and then after the competitions?
Yeah, I can send that through to you. Yeah, not a problem.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you so much for the competitions and such efforts to nurture the research skills among Vietnamese youngsters.
So are you going to enter the semi-final, or you want to start from the beginning?
I'm sorry, is that a question from me?
Yes, is it a question from you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you start from the semi-final, you
Yeah.
cannot modify your pitch. But if you want to start from the beginning, you can make any change. So
I
that you
think
have
I
two
would-
options.
Thank you. I think I would stick to the semi-final one, that option.
I think she's allowed to have the second project, yeah?
You can submit.
Why would she want to
that
compete
Robert
against
said-
herself?
Because she want to change.
No, actually, no, it's not like I want to change it completely. It's just that since the day that I submitted the proposal, like I reviewed it a few times and I talked to my professors and like I had some ideas on improvements. So like I was thinking if I could incorporate those into the proposal again, but like if it's not possible, then I'm good with it.
All right, so I send to Robert email tomorrow to confirm that you are a representative of Vietnam, in particular the winner of VNPRC, to enter into the global competition as a semi-finalist candidates. I think only a few countries, around the 22 countries around the world, including Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Not many countries to have their own national competition. It is a lot of works. And I don't know if next year we will have energy to do, but and we don't know, being honest, right?
Next year, just go straight to the global round, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's also great to connect to fellow researchers to help you in.
You know how many volunteers we have this year? We only have one volunteer, and all 4 of us are working for every single task. Last year I have 150 volunteers. The 2 years before I have 150 volunteers, but last year only have one. This year only have one volunteer. Right, so you can. So I've been honest, right? We don't know if next year we will have energies, but I would like to say sincerely thank you to my friends, to my to Ben, to Bat, to Lộc, and to Phát. Phát, are you still here? But this round Phát is the only volunteer, and 4 of us. Yeah, so. Class is over.
We would hope that the one who are finalists this year will continue next year and become the volunteers, sharing the experiences if they're not the direct participants. Yeah, so a lot of people who were the winners last year help out this year as well.
Yeah.
Let's
Can
wrap
I
this
have
up.
a question?
Yeah.
So say that, oh, you don't need to spotlight me. Since even if the prize is not like the first prize, for like older participant who is not first prize this year, can they also including myself, I can also submit to the international competition, right?
Yeah.
That is go through the older nationality.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
We say revise your pitch, and submit it, or even come up with a new pitch. You have 3 weeks.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
can
and I
increase
tell
your
you that, you
chance.
know, the last year, the winner, the final, you know, overall winner of
Come from
10,000
that round
Australian dollar did
Wow.
only won third prize
in the Vietnam round.
of the VNPRC.
Yeah, so he was not the Vietnam representative. So he go into the other categories and he won the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So just
I could
because
share the
we-
reason why. Yeah.
But I
Because
just say that some of you, if you revise your pitch, you're gonna have a good chance. Okay, so don't get disheartened because you don't get the first prize this year.
Okay, thank you.
Something. Are you frozen? You do?
No, I'm okay. Yeah. I just said
Okay,
that, you know,
say
the last year, the reason why the third prize didn't win the final because while his written pitch is really good, but he didn't spend sufficient time for his presentation. And for VNPRC, we actually marked 70% on the written pitch and 30% on the oral presentation. Whereas in the IGPRC, Robert will mark 100% on written pitch, unless when you went to grand finalists in the top 6, and then he will judge that the overall winner will be the best oral pitch. Yeah, right, the best presenter. So there is, you know, like different what we call marking criteria. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go to bed.
Good night. It's nearly 2 o'clock in my time, and Vũ is.
I know that you're very used to it, but not for me.
No, I'm not. Vũ, what time is your 5 o'clock? Or 7 o'clock, Vũ? You were muted.
Sorry, it's 6 a.m. now.
Okay. Good morning, Vũ.
Yeah, good morning.
You
I'm
can go
waiting
to
for
work now.
the roster.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
You want to turn on camera, have the last final picture, final photo for those who still here.
Mình là em gái không
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you in the IGPRC, the global round. Last year,
See ya.
KBN hosted the global round, actually. Yeah. Robert asked us to help him. But I don't think this year, being honest, I wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
I'm ending.